Hey, what up, Claytriots? I'm back for another stream. I'm even a little earlier than I said. I put a post out there bragging about my ramen and also that I would be live at around 4:30. Look at me. Hey, it only took me like 10 minutes to eat it, so here I am. Today I am drinking a Fitz's Cardinal Cream. I'm also wearing my Cardinals shirt. I believe today is opening day of the MLB season, so I figured I'd represent my local home team. Even if I'm not that much of a sports guy, I do go to usually at least a few games each year. So, um, let's see. I am streaming from St. Louis, like I said, and it is pretty sunny, pretty nice out today. The window, the window that is over to the right that I look at has spoken to me and told me. And yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and get right into personal news. So, yesterday, for those unaware, I was yesterday the day I streamed or my gaming stream. I think I did. Yeah, yesterday I streamed my World of Warcraft raid. Any gamers out there who want to go critique how terrible I was doing can go watch that if they want. To be honest, I looked at my parses after and they were atrocious. I haven't put as much time as I usually do into being optimal for this season. I don't know. It's like not like I just don't have as much time, especially since I started streaming, doing politics streaming stuff. Like I don't know. I just don't got the time to be like putting all of my free time into like I would have to put literally every ounce of my non-streaming free time into World of Warcraft if I was gonna get that. And I just got other stuff to do as well. But yeah, I don't know. We got three bosses down, I think, in heroic, which was pretty good. Uh, then went to sleep, woke up, went to work, and I did it today, guys. I did not skip leg day. I did legs. uh, it sucked. I hated every second of it. But you know what? I did go up a little bit on some of the harder lifts, so that's good. My legs are my weakest aspect by far. I just I number one I hate doing them, but also I think just generally my my legs like muscle wicks off of it the moment I stop working out even slightly, like the muscle is gone like within like a week. It's insane. But okay, then I made some ramen, as anybody who saw my post will know, and then I came right here to you wonderful people to give you the news that maybe not the news you want, but the news that you deserve. I'm sorry, people. You don't deserve this news. There's a lot of bad stuff happening out there, and I think you guys deserve better than that. But you know what? Uh, I hope that my silly little commentary and interjections can make consuming consuming this terrible news at least just a little bit easier. So, with that being said, let's get right into it. Um, Today, we're going to start with Iran like we usually do. We're going to start with this video by France 24 English. This is so there's been a lot of talks lately about like a peace plan that was presented, but also Caroline Levitt said that it wasn't actually a real peace plan and the fake news was lying about that or whatever. But then Iran responded to it and said and dismissed it, I guess, and are issuing their own sort of ceasefire plan. So let's see what their response is. I don't know if it's any different than just the general statements I've been hearing out of Iranian media. But we'll see. We'll see what they say here. So this is France 24 English. Iran dismisses U.S. 15-point peace plan, issues its own ceasefire proposal. France 24 English. Let's go.
American plan to pause the war in the Middle East. This according to Iranian state television a short while ago. The Iranian government also reportedly announcing its own proposal today, asking for war reparations and for sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. With me now, Philip Turl.
So the sovereignty over Strait of Hormuz, that to me is a like new thing that I haven't necessarily heard them saying. The reparations I already knew about. Obviously, a full end to the hostilities, both Israel and America, and I think also including Lebanon, and that those were all the things that I had heard about. So uh, they have de facto sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz already, though. They've already shown that militarily they can do that. So, you know, there you go. I guess they got one already.
Our foreign affairs editor has been following developments closely for us. Lots of news coming out of Iran, lots of statements, and a couple of hours before that, lots of statements coming out of Washington. What's your read as to where we are right now?
It's no surprise that we've had this counter-statement by the Iranians following comments by Donald Trump earlier on that Iran wants a deal so badly it's given the US a prize related to gas, oil and the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran dismissing that, saying that the US was negotiating by itself. Then this 15-point plan coming.
Yeah, we went over that yesterday. I think the prize was just like a couple ships went through the strait and were allowed to by Iran, but Iran had also said like they've been a little bit ambiguous about what ships are allowed versus aren't allowed, and also I think some of them can pay a fine to get through and stuff. So like I kind of chalk all that up to Trump just manufacturing a win out of just the same like business as usual sort of shit that Iran was doing. But so yeah.
Forward from the United States saying that that was also being discussed by Iranian officials. Donald Trump saying that they had very good people discussing it. But now, of course, we have this reply from Iran saying that they're not interested in the 15-point agreement. What Iran is saying here, two things, Nadia, that are important to understand. What Iran is saying here is basically what they said all the way down the line. That is, they want to keep control of the Strait of Hormuz. This is like their key negotiating platform. Once they lose the control of the Strait of Hormuz, they're going to have a lot less to negotiate with the United States, because that is going to keep them in a strong position. So what they want is to charge money for ships to go through the Strait of Hormuz. Friendly ships will pay about $2 million going through. Ships from countries from the United States and its allies are still not being allowed through. That is their negotiating tactic.
That's what they have right now. Like they already have attained that through military like means or whatever. So I guess they're just saying that they're gonna maintain that after the fact. I don't know. I'm a little bit confused about that.
With the United States. But that's not all. As you said, there's also this negotiating tactic about reparations. They want $100 billion worth of reparations from Israel and from the United States. That's going to be a no-go from both of those countries.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Israel could take $100 billion hit, if I had to guess. I kind of think that's one of the reasons that Iran chose to, like, say that we want Israel in particular to pay a portion of the reparations instead of leaving it all to America. But you know what's funny though? I did hear, didn't Hegseth, wasn't there a very specific amount that he was going to request from Congress? Wasn't it $200 billion like for the Iran war? And they're requesting $100 billion from America and $100 billion from Israel. And like, I think I'm pretty good at math. Like, I'm pretty sure that adds up to the same number. So I don't think that that's what that money was supposed to be used for, but it is really like funny that it ends up being the exact same.
There are many other aspects that Iran is not going to give in to, though, on this list of 10 points put forward by the United States. Just to give you a couple of those, the first one is to stop funding proxies in the region, like the Houthis, for example, like Hamas, like Hezbollah. That was certainly something that Iran has refused to do right the way down the line, and it would certainly refuse to stop its ballistic missile program.
Yeah, I mean, America should stop funding its proxies in the region too.
And which was one of the other elements on the table being put forward by the United States. So what we've got here is pretty much a stalemate, I think, on the part of both countries. The United States playing up, as Donald Trump has said, saying they're completely desperate, they want to negotiate, we're going to find a way out of this, to put himself in a good light with the United States and with the oil markets. Remember, there's been a 5-day delay on this ultimatum by Donald Trump to open the Strait of Hormuz or face bombing raids on power installations in Iran. That has led to a calming of the markets. But at the same time, Iran knows that it can play the long-term game here. What Iran wants is for the regime to survive. It can play as long as it wants to. It knows the United States and it knows that Israel have got a time clock hanging over their heads to get this war over and finished. The longer the Iranian regime knows it can hold on, the more chance it has of surviving in the long run.
Yeah, and strategically, that's an incredible. They've been planning this war in this exact way for 20 years. They're just doing everything that they've said that they would do if America ever did this, and they've designed their entire society around this particular war that's happening right now. And I don't know, when you're comparing like decades long strategy like this with like I'm sure that like some of the military operations that Trump is planning and has done so far are all just things that they like dusted off the shelf or whatever at the State Department, but so like they're technically planned as well, but the overarching strategy that America has outside of those individual tactical actions really seems completely and total like I don't know. It seems like a failure on all fronts. So yeah, I mean, Iran, I just think is, cleaning our clock right now.
And look, within the last few minutes, and we've heard from the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, Philip, he says, look, this war, and I quote, has gone on too far. He's calling for an end to both the Iranian attacks on the Gulf and obviously the Israeli-American attacks on Iran. But given that we have this American buildup of troops in the region, it doesn't seem that we may be particularly near a close to this, does it?
Well, we don't know what is going to happen next. The whole thing here, and there is that it's very unclear. The messages coming out of the United States are completely contradictory from one day to the next, from 1 minute to the next, from President Trump.
Okay. Overall, like on average, trust the military movements. That's what I always tell people. If you're curious about what's going to happen, look at the military movements and you're going to be right like 9 times out of 10. So we're moving all of these troops over there. I don't think they're just over there to be some sort of like threat for negotiating. I think that they are going to I think they're probably going to go forward with a ground invasion. Now, I predicted that it's going to be tomorrow, Friday, after markets close, because we're only allowed at this point in our fucking late stage capitalist hellscape that we live in. We are literally only allowed to start wars or like start military actions on Fridays, and they have to be over by Monday. Like, it's a ridiculous, like absurd society that we live in and that we have to do it this way. But I think it's going to be this Friday. If it's not this Friday, it'll be next Friday, I think. But they're going to do some sort of military operation. What that looks like, I don't know. They've talked about Karg Island a lot. That seems like a little too like it seems like they've been talking about that a little too much, if you ask me. So I think they're probably going to do some sort of like I would say shoreline sort of ground invasion is kind of what I'm expecting. The shoreline of Iran, like the shore of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, maybe they'll do some sort of like trying to get to the nuclear energy facilities and try to extract that in some way. I think that's going to be really difficult, to be honest. Maybe they can do it, but I think regardless of what they do, in both cases, I think there will be significant amounts of loss, like lives lost or whatever. And then obviously after that, we're going to be de facto occupying the country and we'll need, supply lines, money, all that sort of stuff. It'll probably bleed into like some sort of attempt to do a full scale occupation, but we'll see what happens, but that's kind of my prediction for the near term.
The Iranian regime has not budged in its demand that the war come to an end and that the regime remains intact. That appears to be the case. Remember, the regime is a despicable regime run by fanatical people, but it knows what it's doing. It's very well encompassed within Iran, so it's not...
Okay, wait. Go back.
It knows what it's doing. A despicable regime run by fanatical people, but it...
Right there. These people have doublethink, man. Orwell described it perfectly. they are both ridiculous, fanatical religious zealots who are doing everything as like a crazy, a crazy nihilistic like government or whatever, and yet they're also strategically like competent and and they're like strategically able to defeat the US military, and they're super scary and all that sort of stuff. Uh it's the you can't hold both of these things in your head at the same time. Either they are fanatics who are just going crazy, or they have a clear strategy that they have designed for the past 20 years, and they are currently implementing that strategy that has been well thought out and well designed. It can't be both, man. You gotta pick one. I know which one I'm choosing.
Knows what it's doing. It's very well encompassed within Iran, so it's not going anywhere anytime soon. I think the big error from the United States was thinking just a couple of days of bombing raids on Tehran and the regime would collapse from that will be the end of it. Well, that's not the case. So that was a total misjudgment on the part of the United States. That's why Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, has been talking in the last few minutes, saying that the world is staring down the barrel of a wider war. This has gone on far too long, and the human and economic pain will get worse the longer the fighting goes on. So a lot of concern around the world, certainly in Western capitals in the Gulf, I think amongst people in the United States and also in Asia, about where this is all going to end up at the end of the day, and what President Trump's next plan is. Is he preparing a ground offensive? There are all these troops being built up into the area, 5,000 Marines, 2,000 or so airborne troops coming in. Does that signal that at the end of this ultimatum on Friday, which is due to expire at midnight, that Donald Trump could launch some kind of ground offensive into Iran to win back the state of Hormuz or take control of Hague Island? We really don't know where all of this is going right now.
Let's bring in no.
Hey, we don't know, but I gave you my analysis, and I like to think that I'm okay at this. I'm not an expert, obviously, but I have watched, I have paid pretty close attention in the last, I'd say 5 years of geopolitics. And I like to say that I think I'm pretty good at seeing patterns. And everything to me is indicating that there will be some sort of ground operation. I don't think it's going to go very successfully, but maybe it will. Who knows? That one I'm a little bit iffier on, but I don't. I mean, I think Iran is going to just keep, attacking and bombing as long as you try to occupy their territory. So I don't really know how you defend against that, to be honest. But okay, well, let's go ahead and go to another France 24. SpaghettiOs. We got two France 24s right next to each other. This is France 48 now. So this was one I kind of wanted to talk about because I had read some stuff about this as well, and I've been saying before that Iran is probably going to go at least until after Israel starts being running out of interceptors is my plan. I thought they would at least go a couple weeks into the point where after the point where Israel runs out of interceptors. So reports suggest Gulf states running out of interceptor missiles by France 24 English. Let's see what they have to say, and we'll see if I agree or not.
Noga Tarnopolsky. Noga, of course, is our correspondent in Jerusalem. Noga, good evening to you. Can we start with the situation regarding Iran's attacks on Israel and Israel's policy? The words of Benjamin Netanyahu we heard. And Yair Lapid, they're saying Israel is tired of containing these kind of problems. What is your sense of where we go from here?
Containing? What? Israel? Are you sure? Do you have the right country there? Containing these kinds of problems? You mean creating more of these kinds of problems, I think is what you meant? Like funding Hamas and propping up all of these people so that I don't know. I think that and going to war with every country around you to create as much of a like as many orphans as you possibly can to join all of these resistance groups and stuff, and continuously trying to steal territory from every country around you. I don't really think any of that has to do with containment.
I think, Mark, that we are really at a juncture, really at the end of the third day of this new war that could go in many different directions, any of them very consequential. There are noises being heard just in the last hour or two that Qatar and the United Arab Emirates may be running out of their anti-missile missiles that have been extremely successful in protecting their countries from Iranian.
Well, they're going to run out first. I'll be clear about that. They're going to run out first. All of the Gulf state countries are going to run out first because we all know the one true ally is Israel. The only ally that we have is Israel. So they're going to send as many of the like if they're restocking anybody, they're restocking Israel. And they've been taking interceptors from like South Korea and shit to like give to or like THAAD missile defense like systems or whatever to give to Israel, which is already pissing off them as well. Uh, like I said, Israel is the one true ally, so they will get them all. Now, I still think they will eventually run out. I don't know exactly when it'll be, but we'll see if they have any more info in this video.
Attack, and that they might be looking for some way to persuade Donald Trump to give him an off ramp, some way to persuade him to cut this campaign short. That said, all of what we heard today from Trump himself, from his Secretary of Defense or War, Pete Hegseth, and certainly from the
I get that
Israeli
messed up too,
leadership,
don't worry.
all of it points to a very long campaign. And regarding what the head of the Israeli opposition, Yair Lapid, said, I think it's a complex situation in Israel. It is true that Israelis are tired of containing threats, but it is also true that Israelis don't have much confidence in their current leadership.
Yeah, well, they're like I said before. Sorry, I was kind of joking, but like they're not containing anything. Like they are like Hamas has more members now than they did at the beginning of their like offensive in Gaza. Like the West Bank is like the is becoming more radicalized by the day. Hezbollah seems to be stronger than it has ever been, honestly. Like, I'm surprised. Like, they are taking out these tanks that are rolling into the territory like it's fucking nothing, dude. Like, so all of this screams to me like they're not containing anything. They're just like increasing the amount of radicalization and violence among the region, as they always have.
And they're just plain tired. So, with 12 funerals today, Israelis are feeling a pretty heavy hit
Aww.
on the civilian population.
They're so tired they can't get any sleep. They can't get any sleep, guys. Guess what? Guess who else hasn't gotten a lot of sleep in the past few years? Every Palestinian in Gaza. So fuck you guys. I do not give a shit if you're fucking if you're tired physically or if you're tired emotionally or if you're tired of being at war, you are the people who want to be at war 24/7. You want to be a fucking Sparta country. You gotta live with the goddamn consequences. So, fuck you guys, seriously.
Life here has been completely interrupted. And with Israeli insistence,
Boo-hoo.
Israeli leadership's insistence that the aim of this campaign is regime change, and yet no real plan for regime change being presented, there are some questions beginning to be raised by Israelis, perhaps not Mr. Lapid, but others, about how exactly this is going to proceed.
Indeed. I think people are raising that same question over in the United States as well because of Donald Trump's pronouncements, which have been along the lines of, I think the exact quote was kicking the crap out of them. I think that was the actual turn of phrase that he used, which basically is saying one
Such
thing,
a way
but
with words.
It's not saying there's any kind of plan afterwards. And this is a very disturbing thing in terms of what happens next, because they could just create a power vacuum, and then who knows where that goes. I'm wondering about, from your perspective, how things will develop there, because clearly we've seen as well as the damage of missiles getting through the Iron Dome defences of Israel and hitting targets in Israel. We've seen the reaction from the politicians. At the same time, Israel launching an operation against Hezbollah in Lebanon. Again, sort of that taking out a senior member of the Palestinian Islamic Jihad organization. What is the aim and objective there?
The situation in Lebanon is actually
to steal territory,
fascinating,
obviously,
and in some way could be really fateful. Israel did launch a significant campaign today in Lebanon, specifically in the Dahya in south of Beirut, aimed at Hezbollah targets, and this has caused more than 20,000 Lebanese to flee their homes, to the best of my knowledge. That said, the Lebanese
There's been over 1 million people who are displaced right now from this, by the way.
government really has lashed out against Hezbollah in a way that is simply has no precedent. The Lebanese prime minister said that any Hezbollah military actions are illegal and prohibited. And we've even heard late this afternoon from one of the
Dude, this seems like fucking cope, man. This seems like really heavy cope. I said before, like Hezbollah is currently like destroying, like decimating the tanks. Like I think, one person died earlier today from being on Lebanese territory by like Hezbollah, like one IOF soldier died. A bunch were injured. And like, but I think they've taken out like dozens of these tanks so far, with like RPGs and stuff. And I keep asking, what the fuck is the Lebanese army gonna do? Like seriously, what the fuck are they gonna do? Like they're nothing compared to Hezbollah in terms of a fighting force. Now, I guess they could go out there and try to start, you know, like shooting Hezbollah like members or whatever, but I don't think that would be very politically popular in Lebanon, considering Hezbollah is doing the fucking job of the Lebanese army right now. Like any normal country would have their own army out there trying to protect their goddamn land from these like Nazi freaks who are coming across in a pogrom to try and steal it from them. Like any normal country would be out there like shooting the like I don't know, shooting the heads off of all of these fucking IOF forces that are like coming across the border and like and launching retaliatory missile strikes on Israel. Like Hezbollah is literally doing the fucking like the Lebanese army's job right now, and they're out there criticizing it. Like that's some fucking bullshit. I hope that the political situation in Lebanon, because I know some people were getting a little bit fed up with Hezbollah. Like, I'm hoping the political situation doesn't like lend to that happening or whatever. But I still ask though, what the fuck is the Lebanese army gonna do? Like, I don't think that they're gonna go out there and start like killing Hezbollah members or something.
tribal leaders in southern Lebanon that for decades have either supported Hezbollah or kept quiet about this sort of Hezbollah state within a state in the south of Lebanon, this time put out a statement clearly declaring their allegiance to the Lebanese state and their opposition to Hezbollah's efforts, as they perceive it, to drag Lebanon into another war. So this actually may be, despite the violence we saw today, this may be a rare success story. In other words, Hezbollah's attack on Israel was significant but did not cause significant damage. It may indicate that Hezbollah's power really has been significantly degraded. And if Lebanon manages to take charge here, we may be seeing a sea change
Nah,
in
nah, because it doesn't matter if Lebanon takes charge. If the Lebanese army takes charge, then Israel is going to take over Lebanon. Israel is going to invade Lebanon further. It's going to keep on going further and further, and the Lebanese army will, and the Lebanese territory will cease to exist one day. That's not a sustainable model. The only way to stop Israel is by like shooting them in the fucking face when they come over your border. So like, I just don't think there's going to be like I'm telling you right now, the political appetite in Lebanon is like they are angry with Hezbollah, I think, to some extent, because they believe that Hezbollah, by firing that rocket into Israel after Iran, like got Lebanon involved in a war that they shouldn't have been in. And I understand that. Like, I understand how you could feel that way. However, Israel was going to do this regardless, and they were going to try to steal your territory regardless. And Hezbollah is just doing, like I said, the shit that the Lebanese army needs to be doing. So whether these people say that or not, I think that I also think as Hezbollah is like successful at pushing them like pushing Israel out of Lebanon, which I think they will be eventually. I don't know how much time it'll take, but I've said before that the the IOF, like the Israeli occupation forces, they're used to brutalizing civilians, right? They're not used to going up against actual, people who are used to being like a guerrilla fighting force. So, um, eventually they're going to get pushed out, I think. If the Lebanese army tries to do some shit, though, that'll be, that could be bad. Because that just means Israel is going to take more fucking territory and like steal it. Like it might keep going. It might steal Beirut, like it might just keep on fucking going because Israel, all they think about is goddamn stealing territory. But Israel is also stretched thinner than it's ever been as well. So, and I think they're weaker than they've ever been militarily and politically. So, yeah, I just don't see this going well for them. And this seems like major fucking cope from this lady. Like I can't believe that she like actually believes this shit. But if she's been in Israel long enough, then her brain is probably pretty fried as well. Zionism, you know, uh like Zionism just destroys your brain, man. It's like that worm in RFK's brain. It just infests your entire brain and you're just getting Zionist maggots just eating it and feasting off of it until there's nothing left. So, um okay, let's see here. Sorry, I had to mute real quick. I cough a lot. I don't really know. Maybe that's a problem. Maybe I should see a doctor. But I don't think it's that big of a deal. Especially when I talk. I think the way that I talk ends up leading to, I don't know. Like I just don't think I really talk very well in a like projecting sort of way or whatever, like talking from the diaphragm and stuff or whatever. So I think that it ends up making my throat pretty sore, and I think that that's probably a part of the reason. Or it's from sucking too much dick, one or the other. Just kidding, people. For those unaware, I am a straight guy, unfortunately. Feels like gay people have all the fun. But let's see here. I already kind of talked about that, so I don't need to go over that again, I think. Okay. Let's go. Okay, let's go over to this one.
So
We're going over to Fox News, baby. This is Fox News. We got Douchey. Douchey is going to tell us some stuff. Um, so apparently Trump has made his response to Iran's response to their initial 15-point proposal. And I think it had something to do with unleashing hell. Now, if you've been following me closely, you've probably already heard this, but Trump says he's gonna unleash hell on people all the time. Like he said it about like Hamas probably 5 times. He said it about the Houthis probably about 5 times. He said it about Hezbollah I think a few times. And so now he's saying it about Iran. He's about to unleash hell. From the track record of all the other times he said it, I don't really think much ever changed each time after he said it. It's just a new round of bombing or whatever, maybe slightly more than they would otherwise, but it really never has any actual strategic impact on the direction of the war. So anyway, let's see what Fox News have to say. They might have a different opinion, and I'll let the viewer decide whether they think my opinion is right or their opinion is right. So this is Douchey. Trump might have to unleash hell. Uh-oh.
President Trump is holding another cabinet meeting today.
It's always exciting. Officials are expected to discuss topics ranging from DHS shutdown that's causing long security lines across the country, as well as the latest on Operation Epic Fury.
Peter Ducey joins
Epic
us from the
Fortnite.
White House with the details. Peter.
Good morning, and President Trump wants his advisors, the people in that cabinet room, to try to figure out how to wind the war down in the next couple of weeks, according to the Wall Street Journal. But between now and then, he might have to unleash hell.
President Trump does not bluff, and he is prepared to unleash hell.
Yeah, he does. He bluffs all the fucking time, dude.
Iran should not miscalculate again. Their last miscalculation cost them their senior leadership, their Navy, their Air Force, and their air defense system. Any violence beyond this point will be because the Iranian regime refused to understand they have already been defeated and refused to come to a deal.
And so far, the U.S. military's role in Epic Fury is getting good marks. The Fox News poll finds that 58%.
Fox News poll, really? This is very surprising to me. I don't know. Do Fox News polls go to everybody or do they go just to Fox News viewers? Because this is, uh, they probably go to everybody if I had to guess. This is a little bit surprising to me, but I think that most people, this is going to change probably. Most people are not as tuned in as the Claytriots that come and visit this YouTube channel. Okay, so most people don't really see the things that I'm seeing, especially in terms of like the long arc of history or like the context that America is living through right now, and like. They're not seeing the individual military operations, number one, like the tactical things, like the F-35s being shot down, or I don't know, like the Iraqi militias blowing up like all of the military bases in Iraq or whatever. Uh, like they're probably not seeing a lot of that stuff. The only thing they're really seeing is the price of the pump. But then also they don't have the historical context that I offer to everybody here, in that America is an empire in its decline, and each one of these uh, like lashing out sort of failures, uh, like as they're unable to impose their will on Iran, for instance, in the Strait of Hormuz, or as they're unable to like defend all of their military bases in the Gulf states, or as they're like stealing interceptors from South Korea and Ukraine to send over to Israel, the one true ally. All of these things start to add up into a just general reduction of America's perception, both in terms of its military like effectiveness, which I think is taking a huge hit right now, but also in terms of like people starting to understand more and more that America is a declining empire, and like you need to start diversifying your like how your defense is going to work in the future. Um, so all of this stuff is like the things that I'm seeing. Uh, so I would be in the one only fair slash poor. I would probably be in the poor category of all of this. Um, but these numbers, as it becomes clearer and clearer, especially if we do boots on the ground and there's a lot of people that die, which I think there will be if we do some sort of ground operation, these are gonna swap pretty quickly, I think. Even if it is like the Fox News poll, which I assume would lean more Republican coded or whatever. But yeah,
think the military's performance has been excellent or good. And here are the bullet points holding things up, holding up the end. The U.S. demands of Iran: dismantle the nuclear facilities, have zero nuclear enrichment, constrain the missile development, and then keep the Strait of Hormuz free and safe. They also want them to stop supporting proxy terror groups. Iran is asking this of the United States. They want to guarantee no more U.S. attacks. They want full sanctions relief. They want the U.S. to pay some war compensation. And they want a new payment system for passing through the Strait of Hormuz. They also want the U.S. to pull out of Middle East.
So a lot of these have already happened, right? They got some sanctions relief, like limited sanctions relief already through military efforts, because America has unsanctioned their oil. So they already kind of got that. Obviously, they don't have the guarantee that it won't be attacked again. They don't have this yet, compensation for the war. That's the $200 billion that I think we talked about earlier. A new payment system for the Strait of Hormuz. I think they're already kind of doing like you can pay a certain amount to get through if you're not a U.S. Israel ship, like flagship or whatever. And then the removal of U.S. bases in the region, they've already kind of done that too by just blowing them the fuck up. Like all of our service members are basically uh, no longer in the military bases. They're basically empty at this point. Like all of them in the region, like honestly. So they've really already kind of accomplished this one as well, from just military means. So basically 2.5, I guess. Um, Well, I guess let's just say each of these are a half. So we'll say 2 out of 5 they've accomplished in total. Really, it's like 1 and a half and a half. But yeah, that's kind of how I would see it. So really, they're just asking for a couple more things.
Eastern military bases. We don't know how many of those things are realistic, but the president still seems to think that both sides are close.
Nobody's ever seen anything like we're doing in the Middle East with Iran. And they are negotiating, by the way, and they want to make a deal so badly, but they're afraid to say it because they figure they'll be killed by their own people. They're also afraid they'll be killed by us. There's never been a head of a country that wanted that job less than being the head of Iran.
He loves this line,
and
dude.
This morning at 10 o'clock, 3 hours from now, this is going to be the first time that the whole cabinet has gotten together since Epic Theory started so that they can talk about the military part with the war secretary, the economic part and gas prices with the Treasury Secretary and the Interior Secretary and the Energy Secretary, and also the possible impact on food prices with the Agriculture Secretary. Back to you.
A lot of topics and a lot of people, and a lot of times it goes on for a long time. Thanks so much, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.
Yeah, it looks like the president just tweeted or put this out on Truth Social. He said the Iranian negotiators are very different and strange. They are begging us to make a deal, which they should be doing since they have been militarily obliterated with zero chance of a comeback, and yet they publicly state that they are only looking at our proposal. Wrong. They better get serious soon before it is too late, because once that happens, there's no turning back and it won't be pretty.
Yeah.
First of all, if you're going to deal with Iran, you want them to be different and strange, because that means that they're not real believers, the ones that you're dealing with right now. That means they're afraid of dying. The leaders before weren't afraid of dying. They believed that they were going to get their 100.
That's a stupid analysis. Every single person in Iran, to some extent, understands their lot, right, of being subjected to imperial power right now. And I guarantee you, everyone in the IRGC, everyone in the command structure understands that there's a possibility that they will get killed and they will be martyred. And in fact, they have an entire, like, religious concept or whatever of martyrdom that is born out of the nature, like, that they are forced to create as a resistance, like, as they resist empire. I've talked before about how religion can be used as a tool of resistance, and so they have created an entire religious, like, concept and idea around the idea of essentially, you know, having to die in order to protect your sovereignty. And so I will almost guarantee you that none of them are actually scared of dying. Like, when you're subjected to this much violence just on a, like, daily basis, and not just like this military violence, but also economic violence as your, like, daily existence, then you need a strong moral character to survive in that society, and especially to rise to the top of, like, you know, the government and military establishment. I gotta go use the bathroom. I'm gonna let you listen to these bozos talk, and you can figure out if you like my analysis or their analysis better.
Or whatever, so virgins in heaven, and they believed in the ideology. I still think that when you talk with the sources inside of the administration, they still got some targets to kill. They killed someone overnight, but we still got some of those longtime leaders that are in place. Once they're gone, then we have a chance at peace, Brian.
I think they are. Like, for example, bin Laden talks about all that, but he was running for his life and hiding with an extraordinary resourcefulness. As you know, it took years to get him. All these guys are scared to death. They got 31 provinces. They're all fanned out, afraid to communicate with each other. Word is that the Pakistanis asked us not to kill the foreign minister, Arachi, because he was in the Israelis had his coordinates. They said, you can't kill him. There's nobody else to talk to. So there's other people to talk to, like the parliamentary speaker, but they seem to be somewhat unhinged. The success that we're having is really tremendous. But what their big success is holding off the Strait of Hormuz. What our military is going to be doing, those two Marine ships and 5,000 Marines, they're going to be doing something with these islands in the Strait of Hormuz to get it open. In return, the Iranians said, if you do that, essentially, we're going to look to shut off the Red Sea, another strait there. That's where the Saudis have rerouted.
Yeah, they're going to do that, but also, like, this seems stupid to me because if you in any way like interfere with the Strait of Hormuz in a way that like Iran can't utilize it anymore as a way of exporting oil, uh guess what? That's just getting mined. Like they will actually do it, you know? Like they will actually mine it. And then nobody's getting through it. And those mines will be there for like potentially years. Like it could take years if not like decades to clear or whatever. Like, you know, um so yeah, and also mining a strait doesn't really take that much. It just takes a small ship like to go around and lay them or whatever. And so they're going to be able to do that regardless of what you do. So like I really don't think there is any way to actually open the Strait of Hormuz if I had to give my estimate, because even if you do a ground invasion, uh where all of our people will just be sitting ducks or whatever getting blasted, um even if you do that, Iran will still just mine it and it'll like be completely shut off for everybody. So, uh, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen here because I do think there's going to be a ground invasion, but I just don't know like if it will be even possible to accomplish the goals that they want it to do.
A lot of their oil, they were selling 15 million a day. Now they're up to 8 million through the Red Sea because they rerouted. They also have things going through pipelines. They have a plan B. So the question is, that would get the Houthis involved. Would they be willing to do that? The Germans have come out and said, we'll do anything to push for the peace.
There's nothing stopping the Houthis from getting involved. Like they are perfectly capable of getting involved right now. I believe that Iran specifically told them not to until they said it was okay. Because they want to hold that as a strategic card for later. Iran loves doing that. Like they love holding strategic cards, like hitting the desalination plants or hitting or like letting the Houthis, you know, loose or whatever. It feels so different to me than like America, which never feels like it holds any of its strategic cards. It feels like it just goes like everything everywhere all at once right off the bat. Like so, I don't know. Uh, Sometimes I feel like it's funny, like trying to contrast the two strategies because they're so completely diametrically opposite.
The UAE says that we're by the president, that we're by America's side. We should not, they should not be in it alone, meaning us, because the UAE has been hit by more rockets, more attacks than the Israelis. And why? Because they represent free enterprise within the Arab community. They also have doubled down.
They hate us for our freedom, right, boys? Where have I heard that before?
Said we still plan
it's Iraq.
on investing
$1.4
trillion into American industry. So if those people who thought you were going to dislodge the Gulf states from our influence, just the opposite has happened. They're asking for more defense, more missiles.
That's their public statements. I've said before, their public statements are always going to be very like America-centered, like we are America's vassal. Please, daddy, come vassal me harder. Like that's what their outward statements are going to be. I assure you that their like internal discussions are much different. I think they are incredibly pissed off in America. I think they will be thinking about strategically counterbalancing, maybe not with Iran because they also fucking hate Iran, but like with like China or something. And also potentially getting these, you know, military bases off of their soil. So, yeah, I like you can't just take people at their word when they're, you know, at what they're saying outwardly when they are just American vassals, basically.
Defense, bigger bases.
Well, when you look at what we're doing to Iran, they're definitely negotiating with us. They don't want that to continue to happen. We've destroyed 10,000 military targets. 92% of Iran's navy has been destroyed. We've damaged or destroyed 2/3 of Iran's.
Someone got her talking points. She's reading that, she's listing them off. Someone gave her the list of things to say.
Missile, drone, and naval.
You know, dear leader gave her the list of things to say to the boomer audience that still watches fucking cable TV.
Production facilities and shipyards. They're definitely talking to us because they want it to end. They're never gonna admit that on state TV. And there are reports that they decided no ceasefire. They're not going to work with us on our demands, the U.S. demands. And that Harachi, what's his name? Harachi, the minister, the foreign minister in Iran. He said that's not true. We're not talking to the U.S. But I don't believe it.
Yeah. So this is just her feeling, right? Her feeling. which like no offense to her, but facts don't care about your feelings. to quote the Pope of the Jews, Ben Shapiro, facts don't care about your feelings. My analysis is never based, or I don't want to say never, because you can't like completely decouple analysis from, you know, emotional desires and wants. But I do like to think that I keep my desires for outcomes out as much as I possibly can from my analysis. And um like they are literally like they are ignoring so much to like from the very beginning, from like day one of this. I said that like Iran is going to like they are going to control the de-escalation. That was what I said. You can go look it up. I said that back on day one. They will not allow America to control the de-escalation this time, because every single time they've done that, the United States has used that de-escalation and the time following it to rearm and prepare for another attack. So this time they are going to at least wait until the interceptors are gone. Like until the stockpiles are basically empty, so that Israel starts getting hit real fucking hard. That's like my analysis. Unless America accedes to all of their demands, that's what they're going to do. So, and I've had that like assumption from the very beginning of the war. These like feel good feelings that they have for our regime, they're not based on any sort of substantial evidence or fact. They are based specifically on feelings and the State Department fucking talking points that she is reading off right there. So, but yeah, I'll let this finish, see if there's anything else that happens. But
don't be on the wrong side of this. Our military is doing phenomenally well. The plan is extremely well planned out.
Always a great sign. Always a great sign when you're doing that sort of reassuring to your audience or whatever. Great sign.
Out by Admiral Cooper and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Don't listen to people who just want President Trump to fail. This is too serious. And do your research, because when the regime
the America last people. You know what? I guess that's me. He's talking about me, guys. Don't listen to me is what he's saying. He's saying specifically, do not listen to Technically Clay. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see who's right in the end. Okay, buddy. I think that these people are just living it. They're getting a little too high on their own supply. If they even believe what they're saying at all, and not just parroting whatever the State Department handed to her in that document. Okay, let's go ahead and go to something slightly different now. Well, different but related.
The president's choice.
We're going to go into some polling stuff. So I kind of realized today when I was scrolling through my For You page that I don't have any Harry Enton clips on here. What does he always say? Like jumping Jehoshaphat or whatever. Oh no, he always says like weird catchphrases and stuff. Holy Toledo. I think that's him, right? So I figured I need to rectify that situation. I really need to rectify that situation. So we're gonna head over to the Clinton News Network and we're gonna look at some polling related to the Iran war. This is Enton. Even Fox News poll shows Trump's Iran war is unpopular. Uh-oh. That's weird, because the one that I just saw said that it was 58% going well, but let's see what they have to say.
To enter into a war with Iran has not been widely popular with Congress, as Sarah was just discussing. It hasn't been popular with the American people either. So how is it impacting Trump's approval rating? Sarah, CNN's Harry Enton here now to run the numbers. So Harry, Fox was one of the initial polls.
Our favorite type of autist, right? People, a polling autist. You got all types of beautiful autists out there. This is one of my favorite kinds. It's the polling autist, the number nerd over here. Okay, sorry. I mean, generally I like him. He's a funny person and he presents the polling in a funny way. But he's just a very interesting character to me, but sorry.
Right. In terms of showing how the Iran war was sitting, it didn't really show that there was a big issue with it initially. Things are changing this morning in this latest poll that we have out.
Already?
That's exactly right. Look, when there was this slew of initial polls that came out, the Fox News poll was the one initial poll that did not show that the war was unpopular. That has changed. Trump has lost his one good poll when it comes to the Iran war. Because just take a look here. Net approval
16.
rating of U.S. military action in Iran. In early March, it broke even, right? 0 points.
50-50.
What that essentially means is 50% approved.
Hey,
50
that's what I call an F- right there, 50%. That's all you need, right, people?
percent disapproved. But down it goes. Look at this now. The net approval rating for the U.S. military action in Iran, negative 16 points. Just 42% of the American public approve of it.
Hey, I think Fox News is engaging in America Last mentality right now with this kind of shit, okay? We cannot be having this information out there, people. This is America Last mentality.
58% disapprove.
Reality. Sorry, I'm talking about reality as being America Last right now.
So now we're looking at basically every single poll in which the clear plurality or majority of Americans disapprove with the U.S. military action in Iran. Trump can no longer point to a poll that actually shows that among the general public at large, that the American public actually approve of this military action.
So this is the overwhelming for the Iran war. When it comes to how President Trump is handling Iran in general, what do we see?
So you see this negative 16 points, you think that's bad, but look at Trump's handling of it. It's even worse. Oh my. Okay, Trump's net approval rating of Iran. Look at this. Overall, 28 points underwater.
He's so
very,
animated.
very unpopular Donald Trump's actions are when it comes to Iran. And look at those in the center of the electorate. Look at independents. Whew! Negative 50.
Independence. What's that? You mean Democrats now, boys?
58 points. 58 points underwater Donald Trump is when it comes to Iran. And of course, this has been dominating politics over the last month. And so what we see here is the U.S. military action in Iran, not popular in a poll. It used to be actually not so bad in. And Donald Trump's handling of it, even worse. And those in the center of the electorate, you can barely find any independents at this point who approve the U.S.
I don't even like talking about independence of center of the electorate. Our electorate has no concept of center. Like, it is all everybody has completely dialectically opposed like opposite beliefs in their head at the same time. The average American has no concept of like left, right, or whatever. It's just a mishmash of like all types of ideologies and like feelings that they think are ideologies just all put together. So independents are just a weird one that isn't like, because I'm saying that also like Republicans and Democrats also, like people who vote for them also have like a mishmash of crazy ideologies inside of their heads. But independence is just another variation of that.
Military action in Iran.
So earlier this week, the president's overall approval numbers were not great. I think they had you saying, yikes. Where do they stand in this Fox News poll?
You know, we have been talking about in poll after poll after poll. Look, you can look at one poll and you see, okay, Donald Trump's hit a new all-time low. And you go, okay, maybe an outlier. Then you see 2, then you see 3, then you see 4. And here, how about number 5? Okay, Trump's net approval rating. In March of 2025, according to Fox News, he was at minus 2 points. Look at where he is now, a term too low. 18 points underwater, according to Fox News. There is simply put no poll you can...
Like America, Donald Trump's only going to be going down from here, I think, guys. The only way that this will go up, to be honest, is if he gets out of the war of Iran. Like, if he doesn't commit to boots on the ground. Then it might go up temporarily. But especially if he does boots on the ground, like, this is just going to keep going lower and lower.
Point to at this point at which Donald Trump is either at or near a record low, and this is yet another one, and he is just struggling mightily. This Iran war is, simply put at this point, a few weeks in, not popular, and it is becoming less popular the longer it goes on.
Would you support troops on the ground in Iran at this point?
No, I mean, absolutely, 100%. Crystal clear from the beginning, no.
This war is now in its third, going into its fourth week. There are more questions than answers. We're not getting answers from the administration on the end game.
Coming out of this briefing today, I don't have any confidence whatsoever that they have a plan, a strategy, even very clear goals for what they want to do next.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. That's how it feels. Like
everyone needs to get the same briefing we received today and make that decision. Is it right to go into a protracted, elongated war where soldiers are going to die? And right now, I am adamantly opposed to boots on the ground, based on the information that I...
We'll see about all of these Republicans being opposed to boots on the ground, okay? When it actually happens, which I think is going to be tomorrow, when it actually happens, I have a feeling a lot of them are gonna get on board pretty quick. They tend to do that. Like a lot of them give these like fake opposition ahead of time, but they always fall in line afterwards. I guarantee you if they do a budget for the military, that 200 billion that Keg's Breath wants to funnel out of my fucking tax dollars, like I guarantee you that all of these people will vote for it.
I have.
Joining me now in the group chat, we have Congressman Corey Mills.
Oh, and they're going to justify it by saying, well, he already did it. Like, there's already boots on the ground. So it would be wrong not to, like, support them at this point, right? We have to support our troops because, like, I lived through Iraq, man. They did the exact same thing back then, okay? I was pretty young back then, and I was not as politically aware, but I do remember, like, watching the news and stuff and seeing a lot of the, you must support the troops, and if you do not vote for the funding, then you are un-American. Like, I remember seeing a lot of that shit back then, and we'll see the same thing here.
He's a Republican from Florida, member of the House Armed Services Committee. I wanted to talk to you because obviously you are a military man, but you've also been in these briefings.
Hoorah.
Answer the question from Nancy Mace. Do you see a plan or do you see a protracted war?
Well, I don't see a war for sure. That's not what the president's objective has been from the very beginning. I mean, if you think back, for example, to 2011 in Libya, one of the primary reasons that we went in and we didn't declare a war, but a hostility, as the Department of Justice had clarified under UN regulations, is that there was no boots on the ground. It was about trying to protect innocent lives of civilians.
This is all rhetorical trickery shenanigans. I hate it. I hate it. It's a war, dude. If you are bombing another country, it is a war. And the way that you can answer this question of if it's a war is if another country did this to us, would we think it's a war? Would we think it's an act of war? If, I don't know, China, the CCP went crazy nutty mode and decided they were going to start bombing like New York or something, right? Would we see that as an act of war? And they protractedly bombed New York for 4 to 5 or I guess they would hit California. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Like they kept hitting LA for 4 to 5 weeks, just constantly bombing. Would we see that as an act of war? Because I think that we would. And that's why this is all just rhetorical stupidity that I hate. I hate it so fucking much.
I think with 40,000 plus people being completely just massacred within the streets by trying to do what we would call the First Amendment, I think that the president looked at this, looked at the overall nuclear threat.
We
and I think
love
that when
the First Amendment here, right? Where all my pro-Palestinian encampment people at? Where are you guys at? Wait, guys, where are you? Wait, guys, wait, are you in jail right now? What happened? I thought we loved the First Amendment. Like, this is so fucking annoying.
saw the fact that recently they were even launching hypersonic ballistic missiles.
But let me stop you there.
They didn't have. Well, I just want to finish the talk.
No, here's the
because
thing.
we're calling it a war, but it's not actually a war.
Okay, so you're saying that. I think by most average people's understanding of seeing bombing,
he must have had one too many concussions whenever he was serving.
Right. They think they're looking at a war, and then when they hear
but
someone
why
like
wasn't it a war in Libya then?
Lindsey Graham has talked about taking.
It was. That's the answer. It was. Like they always think that they gotcha. Like probably because like I don't know. Because Libya, that was under Obama, right? Libya campaign 2011. Because Trump's first was 2016. Yeah, that was Obama. They like to do this stuff because they think it's a gotcha for Democrats, basically. Because they're like, well, you didn't think it was a military campaign in Libya. And a lot of our Democratic representatives would twist themselves into knots to find... sorry about that. Would twist themselves into knots to say that actually, that wasn't a military campaign. I don't know, because it was a little bit shorter or whatever. But this one is. Like, a lot of Democrats would do that shit. But the answer, that's not the right answer. The answer is Libya was also a war. So is this. Every single one of these military actions on a sovereign country is a war. I would argue also economic actions can be an act of war as well, like what we're doing to Cuba. Like I would say that is also, like we are at war with Cuba and we have been for 60 years. Like that's kind of, like I think that like my definition of war even goes further beyond than what a lot of these people would consider war. But yeah, like It is war, but in both cases.
Karg Island and compared it to Iwo Jima. Let me play this for you.
So here's what I tell President Trump. Keep it up for a few more weeks.
Hey.
Take Karg Island, where all of the resources
We love our gay icon. Let's see
they have to produce oil. Control that island. Let this regime die on a vine. We got 2 Marine expeditionary units
man.
sailing to
Have
this.
they even thought about what I've thought about? I'm not even a military guy, man. I'm not I'm not a military autist who literally knows all of these strategies from history or whatever, of what movements happened under what conditions or whatever. I'm just some fucking YouTuber, man. And I understand, if you take Karg Island, there are other consequences to that. Iran might just blow up all of their oil, facilities on the island. Iran might just mine the Strait of Hormuz so that nobody is getting through for the next 5 years. There are responses to these things that I feel like these people never fucking talk about that Iran could play. I don't know, man.
We did Iwo
So
Jima.
stupid.
We can do this.
Then I had Mike Herodopoulos on this show, Republican from Florida, and I asked him about boots on the ground. Here was his reply.
The last thing we want is boots on the ground. As you mentioned, our own son is in the United States military, and I'm very cognizant. I know what not only he, but all of his friends are thinking right now, and we're optimistic we can finally take Iran off the map. That is all of our goal.
Why? Why is that your goal? Why do you care about taking Iran off the map? I don't fucking understand. They're just another country way over there. They have literally no impact on us.
Well, let me just start out by saying that Lindsey Graham doesn't speak on behalf of the Republican Party, and certainly not on behalf of most Americans who...
He speaks a lot for the White House.
Well, I'll tell you right now, though, but if you look at it, I mean, Lindsey Graham would be willing to start a war over someone basically, porch pirating one of his Amazon packages.
So are you worried the president listens to him?
Okay, that was a pretty funny joke. That was a pretty funny joke. I won't lie. But he is out there being essentially a spokesperson for the regime, for the Trump regime. So... he is a representative of the administration. So you can't go out there and be he doesn't speak for everyone or whatever, because he quite literally is speaking for the Republican administration.
Well, the president listens to everyone, but that doesn't make his final decision. I mean, the president is one of those individuals that he collects intelligence from all areas, but at the end of the day, it's his decision. He determines imminence, as Tulsi Gabbard talked about, and he gets to see intelligence that, not all of us get a chance to see, because he gets it from so many different factions within the IC community.
But you're mentioning Tulsi Gabbard. That's a great example. Her chief of staff basically exited with a resignation letter saying that Iran was not an imminent...
Okay, I don't know. I don't know if I need to keep watching them, complain about Republicans being hypocrites or whatever the fuck this is turning into. So, I think I'm going to move on. Really, I just wanted to see Harry Enton, to be honest. I need some Harry Enton content on my YouTube channel, man. I have a feeling it's going to get all of the clicks. Okay. Okay, here we go.
Take a quick...
Who's ready for Ogre Watch? Who's ready for Ogre Watch? Who's ready to go see the big oaf himself, John Fetterman? Okay, I don't want to be too mean, but how do I say this? The mentally unwell, 7'8", I don't know how tall he is, but former Democrat turned Republican is making the rounds again. He is out there on his favorite channel, the only channel that loves him, the only channel that gives him the respect that for some reason he thinks he deserves, especially more respect than that bitch wife that he feels he has or whatever. God, I think he hates his family now and his family hates him, but sorry, I don't mean to laugh too hard about the misfortune of the the sad ogre that we for some reason put into the Senate. But let's see what he has to say. I think this is related to the TSA shit that's happening and the lines being way out the door. This is Senator Fetterman. This should have never happened. Let's see what he has to say.
Quick look at the other networks and their coverage of the conflict with Iran. It's one negative story after another. Many so-called journalists even parroting Iranian propaganda while treating everything that Donald Trump...
Parroting, aka covering. They're covering it. I cover Iranian propaganda all the time. You should be listening to Iranian propaganda if you want to have a full understanding of the realities of the war. But sorry, this isn't about Iran. This, I think, is about the TSA.
Says with an unyielding level of skepticism. John Brennan, I tend to believe the Iranians more than Donald Trump. That's
I do too.
On NBC. And the anti-American, anti-Trump hysteria is so insane. Even one columnist at the New York Times is calling it out. Quote, the New York Times, if past generations could see how well this war has gone compared with the ones they were compelled to fight at a frightening cost, they would marvel at their posterity's comparative good fortune. They would marvel, too, at our inability to appreciate the advantage.
This is so much cope, dude. I'm telling you, they need to all move to Copenhagen, which I've determined means Copehaver, the nation of Copenhagen, or whatever, or the city, I guess. They all need to move there because this is the most fucking cope I've ever seen. Also, the New York Times, like... God damn, dude. You gotta do better. Be better.
We now possess in less than a month. Iran's ability to project force anywhere in the world has been pretty much wiped out without any boots on the ground.
Yeah, pretty
this
much,
is such a historic success. Most Americans are trying to obscure out of their sheer hatred for Donald Trump. One person that is fair.
Nah. I would be saying all this same shit if Kamala was in office because I hate our American presidents in a bipartisan manner, okay? Until we get like a true anti-imperialist in there, I'm gonna hate all of our fucking presidents. And I have a feeling it's gonna be a while before there's a president that I like.
Objective and understands history. He might be the sole voice of reason now in the Democratic Party.
You gotta love
Pennsylvania Senator John.
Yeah, you gotta love that Fox News, right, people? Where are all my Pennsylvania heads? Are they feeling represented? The Democratic base in Pennsylvania, are you feeling represented by this fucking loser as he goes on to his one safe space that doesn't like ask him why do you support the genocide of the Palestinians or whatever? Like this dude, I don't know what happened. I legitimately think that like the stroke broke something in his brain, or either the stroke or like during his recovery process, like he was, instead of getting like a normal psychiatrist to like help him like recover his mentality back to where it was before the stroke, like maybe they gave him some like CIA backed like Fox News host or somebody like to go in there and just like feed him right-wing Republican talking points until his entire mushy brain absorbed it all and reconstituted itself into just like a complete like reactionary right-wing freak. Like this dude, he is just a shame. He is a shame of a person. Yeah.
Fetterman, who's with us.
That's me. Sorry. I shouldn't be yelling so much at our mentally unwell ogre right here, but sometimes I can't help myself.
Senator, welcome back. Good to have you. Can I just ask you, how is it we're going to get to the deadline when your fellow senators are about to go on recess, and that might be the only motivation from stopping Americans from being inconvenienced, waiting 5, 6, 7 hours in some cases online just to get to a TSA agent, just so they can get to the terminal and get on their plane and travel wherever they're going? Why is that the motivation?
I truly don't know at this point.
Also, another question: why does it always happen under Republican administrations?
Me, I've said this from the beginning, and remind everybody there was a long shutdown just last year too, and I was one of the rare Democrats
also under Republican administration.
And
interesting.
Now here we are. Now I'm at the airport every week. I talk to countless TSA agents, and they are all hurting. They are angry. They are frustrating. They're exhausting, too, what they've been put through.
Yeah, I'm sure if I had to talk to you, I'd be feeling the same way. Sorry. Okay,
now,
I'm done.
These are not wealthy people. they earn around
I'm done
$50,000 a
bashing
year.
him.
That should be our wheelhouse. I mean, they're union government workers, and now if we refuse
They
to
can't
give
strike
them a
though.
paycheck, don't talk about affordability if
If only they could strike, then they might not have to go through all this
you don't
shit.
even provide them with a paycheck. So it's always wrong, regardless whatever the party's doing it, shutting down our government. And you can see the kinds of chaos that's created across our right now. They're selling their blood. They have to take, pay loans and just this kinds of chaos. So it's fundamentally wrong. And that's why I refuse to be a part of it. And I'll reopen this DHS. It's wrong, and we're making our nation less safe, and it's also creating mass chaos. And now remember, with spring break, and now also the preparations for World Cup also now has largely been stunned.
Yeah, our government is not going to be able to handle the World Cup. I'm going to be honest. I will be honestly amazed if the game I mean, it'll probably happen, but if there's I just feel like our country is so dysfunctional at this point. I feel like nobody's going to show up. Like nobody's going to come from other countries to watch it. But then also like I don't even know if people in our country are gonna show up. I have a feeling it's gonna be pretty empty, but who knows? I could be wrong. People love their fucking soccer.
Did too. So it's wrong, and I'll never be a part of this.
Tell me, you're there, you're in the cloakroom, you talk to members on both sides of the aisle. Am I wrong? Is Chad Peregrine wrong in saying that Democrats were proposing that they would be willing to fund all of the Department of Homeland Security less ICE, and now that the president is open to it and Republicans are open to it, now they're against it again? I mean,
Are they
why
open
do they
to
want
it?
this
I didn't think they were open to that. I thought that was the whole thing. The Democrats wanted to fund TSA, they just didn't want to add the funding for ICE. And so if they're offering that legitimately now, then I don't know why they wouldn't take that, because that's what they've been saying the whole time. I don't think that they're going to be petty about that shit, because they want to get the government open as well, despite what the Republicans say. My guess is that there's a poison pill in there somewhere. If it has to do with the SAVE Act or the trans shit or whatever, I bet they threw something else in the proposal that made it, non-feasible for the Democrats to support it.
Shut down.
I truly don't know who's on first. I mean, with a lot of this, it's
sure
just a
you don't.
fundamental, simple thing. Just to acknowledge that this has gone. It should have never happened, but it's gone way too long. We've all witnessed the kinds of chaos in our nation. Do the right thing. Put the country ahead of the party. Now there's a huge rally. Another No Kings kinds of protest. So now it's also probably motivating some people in my party that they might be afraid to reopen now, because they are demanding these kinds of extremes, what they think is a solution, that there was ever going to be a solution. They never had any leverage to.
Well, here's what I would say. If the Republicans just agreed to everything the Democrats wanted, then the shit would be open, right? Just saying.
Force any kind.
It's the same argument I always have for unions and their the companies they work for or whatever. If the company just agreed to everything the union asked for, then the strike would be over. So, why don't they just do that? Two can play at this little messaging, at this you must acquiesce to every single thing that we ask for messaging operation.
Ever going to be a solution? They never had any leverage to force any kinds of changes in ICE or over control funding because of the big beautiful bill.
Let me ask you what conditions need to be had in Iran, in your mind, for this to be as successful a mission as possible.
Oh,
One of
God.
the things that comes to my mind.
You're gonna ask this dude about fucking Iran, man. I don't think this guy even can I'm I don't even know if he could say Iran. This is I don't know. This is we'll see what the ogre's response is.
My head is we cannot allow what Steve Witkoff told us, what really became the imminent threat that everybody talked about, the 60% enriched uranium that the Iranians were bragging about, which can be weapons grade, 90% enriched within 7 to 12 days. That cannot end up in the wrong hands of anybody, the wrong hands of people.
Sorry, I gotta pause it again. But the one thing that always confuses to me about these people who are so like fucking weird about the enrichment is like, you understand that like China could just give them a nuke, right? And or like Pakistan could just give them a nuke. Like they don't have to go through the enrichment process to get a nuke. Like if one of their allies, like if you nuke them or like if Israel nukes them or something, like I'm pretty confident that China will be sending over a nuke instantaneously, and then they will be a nuclear armed power. So, um, I don't know. I feel like they're always so obsessed with the uranium enrichment, like that's the only way for a country to get a nuke. It's just an interesting thing to me.
And they can't have that. Somehow that is either going to be turned over to us or taken by us or the Israelis. I would also argue any place, anywhere, anytime inspections. And I kind of expect that Donald Trump, if there is a deal aspect to this, the Iranians are going to have to pay us back for all the billions of dollars this military.
He's literally just saying that like the like the what Iran was asking of us or whatever. He's literally just like co-opting that. This is like classic debate lord shit, dude. Yeah, we'll see if the material conditions on the ground actually end up giving America the leverage to request that. I have a feeling that's not going to happen. Like that seems ridiculous.
Effort has cost us. Your thoughts? What are the things you think you need for this to come to an end?
What I think, we just have to acknowledge, too, that this has been,
Let's hear what he has to say.
A profound development in that region right now. You know, even the Saudi Arabians are now saying, keep going and make sure. You know, you have this incredible ability to remake that entire region. And now they've effectively destroyed their entire military apparatus. You know, they're not able to really engage in any kinds of traditional warfare. All what those cowards.
They never were. They always planned for an attritional style war because they knew that's the only way that they could defeat like a superior army or whatever. Like it's the smart strategy. That's what they did. They did smart strategy. This is what's so confusing for our ogre here and for just the general people in charge of this military operation is they have smart people. We have dum-dums. Do you see this guy right now? Like, this dude is one of the dumbest people in Congress, and he's trying to come up with, like, his ideas right now about the war, and so far they're not making much sense.
They fire off some random drones at civilians. They can't engage our traditional military capabilities. That's a fact. That's all they can do. And now they've had the Ayatollah at weekends at Bernie's. I mean, like, you know, like they can't even have any proof of life.
That was a funny one.
I mean, are they wheeling around that corpse? They don't know who's even
okay. You don't. If you make an okay joke, John Fetterman, this is just me from one comedian to another. If you make a funny joke, you really shouldn't go back to it and like try and explain it more, because when people have got smarty pants like me have actually got the joke the first time, it makes me feel like you think I'm stupid. And I really don't like someone like you thinking that I'm stupid, because it makes me feel really stupid.
He's the leader right now. Zero proof of life since in February when he was originally struck. Now you watch all those kinds of videos about those strikes. We've destroyed their navy. They've destroyed their missile capabilities as well too. They have any ability to strike now. So here.
What was that, Mr. Fetterman? What was that you just said? What was that sentence?
We've destroyed their navy. They've destroyed their missile capabilities as well too. They have any ability to strike.
They have any ability to strike. I hate to make fun of the mentally unwell, but they certainly do have the capability to strike still, as shown by the fact that they are still launching barrages of missiles. Like they're on like 50 or 51 at this point, and they're still launching them every single day. So whatever that sentence was that he tried to say, I think he was wrong.
Now, so here we are now. Iran doesn't have any of the kinds of military capabilities to have effectively threatened. So I don't know why people can't sell that this is a great development and really, back this until it's final.
Okay, this is getting hard to watch, people. I like, I hate this guy. I hate him. I do. I hate John Fetterman. I think he is a terrible person. I think he is an evil person who advocated and helped facilitate the genocide of the Palestinians. Okay? So I hate him. I legitimately think he should burn in hell forever. He deserves worse than death, in my opinion. But, watching him try to stumble his way through this fucking interview and not being able to speak because of his stroke, it really does make me feel a little bit bad for him. And it makes me feel like these Fox News people who pull him out to, like, I don't know, parade a mentally handicapped person in front of all of us, like so that he can parrot the, whatever the fuck you want him to say, like you're like puppeteering him or whatever. It really seems like an offensive thing to do to like to stroke victims everywhere. So like I said, I'm not above making fun of evil people for their problems that they have, like if they're fat or whatever, like I call ICE people fat hogs all the fucking time, like, and so I like to make fun of him for being a stupid little person now and an unhappy person, but I really do think that, like, the best thing for him, like, this is on a person-to-person basis, like ignoring the fact that he helped facilitate the genocide of the Palestinians. On a person-to-person basis, like, he's got to get out of Congress and he needs to get into therapy as soon as possible. And he needs to find a doctor that isn't some like CIA goon who is trying to turn him into see if their new like mind control techniques can turn Democrats into Republicans if you just force them to have a stroke or something. Like however this happened, like he needs mental help. Seriously, people, someone go out there and get him some, because I have a feeling I have a feeling that I know how, like, John Fetterman's the end of John Fetterman is going to have, and I don't think it's going to be very pretty. We're going to watch a quick one now. We're going to get a little bit happy real quick.
As someone who believes deep,
we're going to watch the happiest guy in the world, Zoran Mamdani. He has a smile that lights up the sky, man. He goes out there, he smiles, and I think it's the crescent moon or whatever. Like it's just infectious. So I think this is just a little ad that he put together about just what he's doing in the mayor's office. So we'll see what's going on in this ad. This is supposed to be just like a little fun one, just to transition to the funner portion of the.
Deeply in the responsibility of government to deliver for working class people. I also believe it's our responsibility to deliver a government that's efficient, with every single dollar being put to the best possible use. That's why 2 months ago, I asked agencies across city government to find $1.7 billion in savings without compromising essential services. Here are just a few things we've found so far. Even just by capping how much we spend on paper, pens, and office supplies, we're going to save more than $27 million.
That's not $27 million, Zoran. Don't lie to me. You Muslim extremist?
The city was paying for a lot of work from outside contractors that was costing us
Doesn't
far
even know
too
how
much.
numbers work.
So we're bringing a lot of that work in-house and saving our budget millions on things like IT services and software. We've also found that sometimes we've been overcharged for life-saving medicine, like naloxone. So we're renegotiating that contract and saving another $1 million. Our contract with McKinsey at the Department of Social Services, no more. That's $9 million that we won't be spending next year. The city rents lots of property. It doesn't.
I do kind of like how this is. This feels very like similar, but the opposite of like Mayor Eric Adams' finding the drugs video or whatever, like, oh, you need to go search your kid's backpack, and what's this, a gun? It's like, yeah, this is like the opposite. Instead of finding like drugs and guns and stuff around the house, he's finding a whole bunch of money.
Doesn't actually need. So we're going to shrink our physical footprint and save millions on leases. And we want to make sure that the programs we're delivering to New Yorkers are being used as intended. So we're going to strengthen verification to ensure that homeowners getting tax breaks are actually living in that home. This adds up to another $13 million a year. You've heard me say this time and again. In fighting a $5.4 billion fiscal deficit, we need to tax the rich and end the drain that's been our relationship with the state for far too long. As we pursue that, though, we also have to take a close look at our own spending and cut waste wherever we can. When we're looking to put our city back on firm financial footing, no saving is too small. We'll keep you posted every step of the way. Because
yeah,
to deliver public
I'll let him
goods,
finish.
you have to first deliver public excellence.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like that. I think that a lot of people seem to like misunderstand what what lefties like me want in terms of government. And like a lot of these like we don't want people just like the government just spending to spend or whatever, right? We want them to be efficient with their choices, and finding like I think one of the most like a very disregarded aspect of like government waste is just like ridiculous business contracts for contractors to just like essentially skim money off of the top of the government or whatever. So it sounds like he's getting rid of a lot of those. Sometimes I worry about things like he says like pencils and paper or whatever, like those types of things. Like you don't want to be making people's jobs harder in any way, because that ends up costing more money if they're having a harder time doing their job and stuff when they're working in the government. But overall, I think that that's a good strategy. But anyway, that was just a little fun video. Let's go to this one.
It's the year 1867.
Okay. So I've never really, so I have actually, I think I watched this video the other day, but I thought it was relatively interesting. I could have some good stuff to talk about it, but I don't know this channel really. So, you know, if it's an AI channel or whatever, I'm sorry, people, but I do kind of want to talk about this video. So, this is sorry, people, this is going to be a slightly educational one. We're going to talk about Karl Marx a little bit. I know. Everybody's groaning. They're all groaning. They're like, this leftist, he's pushing his commie agenda on me. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I am. I'm sorry, people. Okay. But this is a video called Mr. Beast is what Marx warned us about. So we're going to all hopefully learn just a little bit and also talk about Mr. Beast a little bit, because I've had feelings about Mr. Beast for a while. Not sexual feelings, but negative feelings. And so we're going to see if this guy can explain why I think that.
A bearded philosopher named Karl Marx sits in the dim light of the British Museum, scribbling the foundational texts of Das Kapital. He is writing about a terrifying future where every human
I've read the volume 1. I have not read past that.
interaction is reduced to a cold transaction, a world where even kindness is a commodity bought and sold for a profit. He had no idea that over 150 years later, he would describe the career of Jimmy Donaldson, Mr. Beast, with frightening accuracy. We view Mr. Beast as the internet's greatest philanthropist, a modern-day saint who builds wells and pays for surgeries. But through a Marxist lens, Mr. Beast isn't the solution to capitalism's failures. He is its final, most dystopian evolution. He has perfected an economy where human desperation is gamified, and charity is no longer an act of mercy, but a high-yield digital asset.
Well, to some extent, he Squid Game does all. Like, I always thought it was funny that he did an actual, like, Squid Game sort of, like, creation, because he quite literally is doing like Squid Games. Like obviously he's not killing them if they don't win or whatever, but it really is like monetizing like the general just anxieties and suffering of others.
warned us that under late-stage capitalism, everything, even our empathy, would have a price tag. Mr. Beast didn't just find that price tag, he built a billion-dollar empire on it. This is how the world's most popular creator perfected the exact dystopian economy Marx predicted over a century ago: commodity fetishism. In the first volume of Das Kapital, Marx introduces a concept that explains why Mr. Beast's videos feel so mesmerizing yet so hollow. He wrote, "A commodity appears at first sight an extremely obvious trivial thing, but its analysis shows that it is a very queer thing, abounding in metaphysical subtleties and theological niceties. When you watch a Mr. Beast video, what are you actually looking at? You see a suitcase filled with $100,000. You see a brand new Lamborghini. You see a house being given to a homeless family. To the average viewer, these are just good deeds. But to Marx, these are commodities in their most fetishized form. In a Mr. Beast production, money is never just a medium of exchange, it is a prop. It is a visual effect designed to trigger a biological response." Marx argued that commodity fetishism occurs when the social relationships between people are masked by the exchange of objects. Think about it. When Jim
So that right there, by the way,
relationships between people are masked by the exchange of objects.
So, commodity fetishism occurs when the social relationships between people are masked by the exchange of objects. I feel this a lot in American society. I feel a hollowness and an emptiness in a lot of interactions with people because they seem to be based, like, a lot of times on, like, money or, like, gift giving or, like a place where I feel this a lot is like I'm gonna be honest, like Christmas or whatever. Like I like Christmas as much as the next guy, but I do feel this weird sense of hollowness when the relationships between people seem to get boiled down into exchanging of like objects or money or whatever. It gives me this very like weird feeling that sometimes I have like until I read Karl Marx, I really had like a hard time understanding some of these like feelings that I had, which I think that he just crystallized them so well back in the day. And even if you don't believe in like Marxism or like communism or whatever, you really do still need, in my opinion, you still need to read Karl Marx because he was one of the most brilliant economists who ever existed. So
think about it. When Jimmy hands a random person $50,000 for staying in a circle, we aren't seeing a social connection. We are seeing a person's value reduced entirely to the cash in their hand. We don't see the systemic poverty that makes that $50,000 a life-altering miracle. We only see the magic of the money itself. The money becomes a godlike entity that solves all problems, hiding the ugly reality of the labor and desperation that created the need for the money in the first place. Mr. Beast is not giving away money in the traditional sense. He is converting human struggle into a high-yield digital asset. Marx warned that in a capitalist society, all that is holy is profaned. The sacred act of charity has been stripped of its human soul and redesigned to profaned. The sacred act of
this sort of stuff too, obviously, of like homeless, like even charity, like sort of stuff like this, when it's on a YouTube channel or when it's put on video, also makes me very uncomfortable. And I think it's because of this exact same feeling of like you're clearly monetizing the good deeds that you're doing, and engaging in this sort of commodity fetishism.
Charity has been stripped of its human soul and redesigned to satisfy a recommendation algorithm. It is the ultimate commodification. Kindness itself has become a product you can subscribe to. Human alienation. Marx's theory of alienation is perhaps his most haunting critique of how capitalism breaks the human spirit. In his economic and philosophic manuscripts of 1844, he wrote, "The worker becomes all the poorer the more wealth he produces, the more his production increases in power and range. The worker becomes an ever cheaper commodity, the more commodities he creates."
God, he's so brilliant, man. He like all of this stuff is what we're experiencing right now in America, but the worker becomes all the poorer, the more wealth he produces. the more he's producing wealth for the capitalists who own the corporation or whatever, the more his production increases in power and range. And he is producing more, it says in power and range, I don't really know exactly what, but he is producing more with like new technologies and stuff. The worker becomes an even cheaper commodity the more commodities he creates. The more productive he becomes even cheaper and less has less value under capitalism. This crystallizes a whole lot of American society right now. With even just thinking about AI, right? AI is a new technology that offers like potential productivity increases that are crazy high, right? Like at least that's how it's being sold to us. So their workers' production might go up in like insane amounts, but as it does, the worker becomes even cheaper. He becomes less valuable, and so he more and more get thrown to the curb until society essentially implodes because there's so many people who are eviscerated that they take up arms or whatever. Like this is kind of like, I don't know. Marx he was just on one when he wrote this shit.
Now, look at a Mr. Beast challenge. A participant is placed in a white room for 100 days. Another is buried alive for 50 hours. Another survives in a wilderness for a week. On the surface, it's a game, but in Marx's terms, it is pure alienation. The participant is the worker, and their production is their own suffering. They are separated from their family, their environment, and their basic human needs, all to produce a spectacle for a global audience. Marx argued that under capitalism, the worker is alienated from their species essence, their true human nature, by placing people in sensory deprivation or extreme physical conditions just to pay off student debt or buy a house. Mr. Beast literally strips them of their humanity to see how much
this is where Mr. Beast is doing an extreme version of what every company does. So this is kind of where I want to expand this a little bit further because this is a very obvious crystallization of this concept of essentially monetizing the suffering of people. But every corporation does do this with their workers. When Marx talks about the life essence or whatever, which is all very metaphysical and poetic, and a little bit artistic concepts or whatever, he's really talking about a person's desire to feel fulfilled, and by producing say something, and then if someone for instance was a self-run individual entrepreneur or whatever, and he produces something himself and then he sells it and he gets some value from that process because he is in complete control of that, of the thing that he has produced, and he feels a connection to it, and he feels validated by the commodification of that thing by selling it. And then obviously in a capitalist system, you are no longer producing that thing for yourself to then go sell and get something in returns. You are now producing it to give to your capital owner, who then can sell and skim off whatever profits they want off the top of that. And so, in a sense, they're also, I guess, I guess that's a little different than the subject matter of this, of monetizing the suffering, because when you're talking about monetizing the suffering, it's about eviscerating the population to an extent so that they feel forced to go into the bad work conditions or whatever, right? When you have a minimum wage McDonald's job or something, most normal people don't want to go into work at that place, right? However, the society that we have created eviscerates people in such a way so that they feel compelled and forced to go do that. So I guess that's kind of more what they're talking about here. I'm kind of blending two concepts here. So, but I'm just going off the cuff here. I don't have anything planned, so it's not always going to be perfect.
value can be squeezed out of their endurance. They aren't there because they want to play a game. They are there because they are economically coerced. In one video, a man stays in a circle for months to win money for his family. We watch his mental health decline. We watch him weep. This is exactly what Marx meant when he said the worker's labor becomes an object, an external existence that exists outside him, independently, as something alien to him. The contestants' pain is no longer their own, it belongs to the Beast brand. It is a raw material, like coal or iron, mined from the human psyche and sold to us as entertainment. The more the contestant suffers, the more wealth the video generates. They are a cog in a machine that requires their total alienation to function. They sell their life activity to obtain the means of subsistence, turning their very existence into a game of survival. Exchange value. To understand the genius and the horror of the Mr. Beast model, we have to look at how he treats human life as a balance sheet. Marx famously distinguished between use value and exchange value. In value, price and profit, he noted, as exchange values, all commodities are merely definite quantities of congealed labor time. Take the video where Mr. Beast pays for 1,000 people to have cataract surgery. The use value of that act is immense. 1,000 people can now see. It is a genuine good, but in the logic of the channel, the exchange value is what matters. The cost of the surgeries is a variable capital investment. The congealed labor time is the months of planning and editing. The goal, to produce a thumbnail and a title that generates a surplus value of 150 million views. If curing 1,000 people only generated 100 views, the Beast empire would collapse. The mercy is only viable if it is marketable. This creates a terrifying feedback loop. Marx warned that capital must all.
This is where the commodification of charity, I think, is just an evil, evil thing. Like, because obviously charity is good, right? Like, when you engage in charity as an act, like, that is perfectly fine and valid. But when you engage in it with ulterior motives, usually from a capital perspective, like in terms of making money or whatever, that's when it becomes like kind of evil in a sense. And not like, like it's more that the system, like the structure of that is evil, that like kind of makes it happen or whatever. But like I also think about people like Bill Gates and stuff, right? Epstein's best friend, Bill Gates. Like how he like engaged in a lot of charity, right? Which you could think of as being good from like a use value perspective or whatever. But in the end, he was engaging in those acts of charity to accumulate more wealth and power for himself. So there is like an exchange value aspect to that. And obviously to fuck little kids as well or whatever, because he was a affiliate of Epstein. So, but he also did terrible things like, essentially destroy the American education system too. So like these are like the power things that he got out of, doing those sort of charitable aspects. Under capitalism, charity, like it has a very hard time being actually altruistic and not being corrupted by the system that it lives under.
Always seek to expand because the cost of curing blindness or building 100 houses is so high, the next video must be bigger, louder, and more viral to pay for the last one. This is the commodified charity loop. It is a self-sustaining microeconomy where the viewer's attention directly funds the next spectacle of wealth distribution. You, the viewer, are the consumer of this charity. Your attention labor is what gives the video value, which the brand then harvests to buy more good deeds. It turns the audience into passive participants in a digital coliseum. We aren't being inspired to help, we are being conditioned to watch. Marx believed that the market eventually turns everything into a quantity. In the Mr. Beast universe, there is no quality of mercy. There is only the quantity of people helped versus the cost per click. It is a cold, calculated breakdown of the human heart into a spreadsheet. Capital accumulation, Marx's most famous command.
It really does. It turns everything into a commodity. Even what I'm doing right now to an extent, streaming or whatever. Like I'm doing it primarily, I think, out of, I want to reach people and kind of, help people along their journey into maybe better ideologies or whatever. But we're commodifying, like everybody is commodifying themselves all the time, and like social media is like a perfect example of like everybody to each be their own becoming a commodity and like willingly commodifying themselves so that they like have a chance of making it, I guess, in our eviscerated society that we live in under late stage capitalism.
command for the capitalist was
Sorry, I forgot.
Capital accumulation. Yeah. Marx's most famous command for the capitalist was accumulate, accumulate. That is Moses and the prophets. He understood that capital is not a thing, but a process. It has to move. It has to grow. If it stops, it dies. Jimmy Donaldson often says in interviews that he has $0 in his bank account because he reinvests every penny back into his videos.
Mr. Beast ends every single month with $0 in his bank account.
I mean, at the end of the day, I could spend less per videos if I want to. I'm just focused on making the best videos possible, period. I don't care about making money. I don't care about time. I don't care about anything. I just want to make the best videos.
That's a very... He thinks he's being like a non-grubby little capitalist when he says things like this, but he's really being the perfect embodiment of capital if you're like... because that is the entire purpose of capitalism, is to grow, unendingly grow, or whatever.
On the planet. But at any point, if I was like, oh, I need to stop losing money, I'd, don't spend $1 million on the next video. Just spend $100,000. You know what I mean?
Many see this as the ultimate proof of his selflessness, but to a Marxist, this is the most aggressive form of capital accumulation imaginable.
I should have waited.
Jimmy is not a person. He is the personification of capital. By refusing to consume his wealth and instead dumping it back into production, he is accelerating the growth of his beast empire at a rate that traditional charities could never dream of. Marx described the MCM cycle. Money is converted into a commodity, which is then sold for more money. Mr. Beast has perfected the MSM cycle. Money is converted in...
I'm going to have to leave you guys with Mr. Beast and Karl Marx for a second. I got to use the bathroom again, but I'll be right back.
To a spectacle, which is then sold for more money. Because he reinvests 100%, he is able to build a monopoly of attention. He creates a barrier to entry so high that no other creator can compete. This is the microeconomic engine your client asked about. By operating at a break-even point on individual videos, he is actually building a massive, high-yield digital asset, the brand itself. This brand can then launch Feastables, Mr. Beast Burger, and massive merchandising lines. The charity is the marketing department for a global conglomerate. Marx warned that as capital accumulates, it centralizes. We see this today. One man now controls the charity narrative for the entire internet. He has become a private state, providing the services like water, housing, and healthcare that the actual state has failed to provide. He is the benevolent dictator of the digital age, exactly the kind of prince of industry Marx feared would replace traditional society. The reserve army. Finally, we have to look at the people who aren't in the videos. Marx spoke of the Industrial Reserve Army, a mass of desperate, unemployed people who exist on the fringes of society. He wrote, "The Industrial Reserve Army, during the periods of stagnation, weighs down the active labor army. During the periods of overproduction and paroxysm, it holds its pretensions in check. In every Mr. Beast challenge, there are 100, 1,000, or even 10,000 people, but for every person in that video, there are millions more in the comments begging for a chance. Jimmy, please help me pay my mom's medical bills. Like, Jimmy, I'm about to lose my house." This is the reserve army of the beast economy. They are the millions of desperate souls who make the contestants replaceable. Marxism teaches us that the system needs this desperation to function. If everyone had a house, if everyone had health care, if everyone had their debt paid off, Mr. Beast's content would be boring. There would be no stakes. The spectacle relies on the existence of a massive, suffering underclass. The reserve army is what gives the video its tension. Mr. Beast is not a bad person. In fact, by all accounts, he's a very nice one. But that's the point. Marx wasn't interested in whether the capitalist was nice. He was interested in what the system forced them to do. We aren't...
That's an individual... Like, that's where people need to... They need to break those things apart in their brain. Americans in particular have a really hard time with this, but whether somebody is good or bad is irrelevant. The structure is immoral. For instance, billionaires are immoral, whether they're good or bad. Like good or bad people. Like, for instance, I say all the time, I'd like Mark Cuban. I think he's a funny guy. He talks like a normal guy, and he seems like he is a good person. But that does not separate me from the fact that he's a billionaire, and his existence as a billionaire is immoral and should not be tolerated and is evil, right? It's evil that we allow that to happen. And so, like, you really have to break apart those two things. The system itself is the immoral part. You can like somebody or talk to, it's almost the same as like how I say like I can chud it up with the best of them. I can hang out with some like right-wing freaks and like, not feel like I can enjoy their company as a person. That doesn't change the fact that like structurally and ideologically I am opposed to, what they represent or whatever. So yeah, that's something that people definitely need to break apart.
Watching a man fix the world, we are watching a man prove that the world is broken beyond repair. And the scariest part, we can't stop watching. We are the ones providing the living labor of our attention.
Well, I stopped watching. I stopped watching you too, Cope Geographin, but no. So the reason I wanted to watch this is because there was a very short period where me and my wife, or back then my girlfriend, where we like got into like a very short, like maybe weeks long Mr. Beast phase where we watched a few videos. Like we would watch his new video whenever it came out or whatever. And it was weird because it was so engaging and so like fast paced and hard to look away from, and yet I came out of it feeling empty and devoid of life. Like I didn't know what happened, but I still felt like I needed to watch another or whatever. I don't know if anyone else has that feeling when they watch like Mr. Beast, but that was back way before I was like more, I don't know, like knowledgeable politically, or like I hadn't really fully fleshed out my worldview and stuff. And so it was really just a vague feeling of uncomfortableness. And I think that this video does a really good job of expressing that uncomfortableness and why I felt it. So yeah, I got to, preach the gospel of Marxism to whoever's watching this, and hopefully I can clickbait people pretty hard with the Mr. Beast in the title, but get other people on board as well. Okay, let's see here. I think we're going to be done with the video portion. Ooh, we're already at 2 hours. Eek. Eek. What should I do? Oh God. Is there a short one I can do? This one looks pretty short. Okay. We're going to read an article next. Don't everybody groan at once. We're going to read this article by the Associated Press because I thought it was kind of funny to me. So this is about Bill Maher, and I guess he's getting the Mark Twain Humor Prize. Now, this is very interesting to me because neither Bill Maher or Mark Twain, I think, are that funny. Like, right? Am I wrong about that? Like Bill Maher has stopped being funny for years. He is just a reactionary right winger at this point. Like he is just a slop merchant of like reactionary viewpoints. And then Mark Twain, am I wrong? Like I thought he wrote like serious stuff, not funny stuff. Like he wrote like Huckleberry Finn and shit, right? Am I wrong about this? The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Yeah, and Huckleberry Finn. Okay. Yeah, no, I know who he is. Like, oh, it says humorist. Is that different? I guess maybe he's a comedy person. I guess I just don't really think of Mark Twain when I think of comedy. But anyway, I guess, yeah, I just want to see what this is all about. Why he's getting some sort of recognition when he's at like the least funny he's ever been. Like, have you ever watched a Bill Maher episode lately? He literally sounds like he's dying inside. I think, is it even still on? Is his show still on? I know he does that podcast, but every single monologue he sounds like he's dying, and then when people don't laugh, he gives that look like okay, and like he's like upset, like I don't know, he's just a very annoying person nowadays. But anyway, Bill Maher to receive Kennedy Center's Mark Twain Humor Prize following White House denial. The comedian, whose relationship with Donald Trump has ranged from friendly to critical, is the first to win the prize since the president added his name to the center. Yeah, excuse me, MS Now, MSDNC. Do you think that's why they changed the name so that they wouldn't be called MSDNC anymore? I'm still gonna call them that, sorry. But you mean the Trump Kennedy Center. I don't know what this fucking Kennedy Center is. You mean the Trump Kennedy Center? I know what that is. Okay, this is by the Associated Press. Bill Maher will win the prestigious Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. Not that prestigious because I had never heard of it. The Kennedy Center said Thursday, less than a week after the White House forcefully denied that the comedian, who has had a hot and cold relationship with President Donald Trump, would win it. More hot than cold lately, let's be honest. Like, he is very much a Trump stooge at this point. He's going out there touting the regime every single day, baby. He's got to make that money. For nearly 3 decades, the Mark Twain Prize has celebrated some of the greatest minds in comedy. Roma Duravi, the Kennedy Center's vice president of public relations, said in a statement, "For even longer, Bill has been influencing American discourse, one politically incorrect joke at the time. More like one edgelord atheist joke at a time. Dude, he is the OG edgelord atheist. Like, what was it, religious, or what was that thing that he did? Yeah, I don't know. I think that brand of like and it's so funny. All of these edgelord atheists from back in the day nowadays are like, oh, but I'm actually culturally Christian, and actually Islam is way worse than Christianity. And it's like, dude, like, I've said before that like American Christianity is just like white supremacy in a trench coat. And like these people want to be in the trench coat, but they can't because they made their entire brand about about being an atheist. And so they're not allowed to go hang out in the trench coat, but like they're like, "You know what? I'll just be culturally Christian." Like that's what they do now. It's so funny. Anyway, sorry. Maher said in a statement that he just had the award explained to me, and apparently it's like an Emmy, except I win. Good one. After The Atlantic reported last week that Maher would win the award, the White House pushed back hard. White House Communications Director Stephen Chung said on social media that the story was literally fake news. Apparently not. The White House didn't immediately comment on the award on Thursday. The Kennedy Center has presented the award since 1998 as a way to recognize those who have made significant contributions to humor and commentary. Hint, hint, technically Clay? Can we get technically Clay in there? I'll go full regime pilled. I'll go out there and tout the regime, the Trump regime. Just put me in, coach. I'll be there. To humor and commentary in the United States. Previous winners include Conan O'Brien. I like Conan. Dave Chappelle. I don't like the trans stuff, but I guess he's anti-Israel, so he's, what you win some, you lose some. Am I right? Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I got no problems with her. David Letterman. Don't really know anything about him. Carol Burnett. Don't even recognize that one. And Tina Fey. I like Tina Fey. She's very lib-coded, but I do like her. She's funny. The award will be presented on June 28th, just before Trump plans to close the Kennedy Center for renovations, expected to last about 2 years. Since returning to office, the Republican president has wielded tremendous influence over the venue, ousting his previous leadership and replacing it with a hand-picked board of trustees that named him chairman. Classic autocrat shit. I love it. The board added Trump's name to the Kennedy Center and approved the closure. Actions that have prompted legal proceedings that are ongoing. Yeah, but he's the president, so I think he's going to win those legal proceedings. Maher and the president have long had a fraught relationship. Before he entered politics, Trump filed a $5 million lawsuit against Maher in 2013 for breach of contract. Appearing on Jay Leno's The Tonight Show, Maher said he would give $5 million to the charity of Trump's choice if he could prove he was not the spawn of his mother having sex with an orangutan. See, that's what I'm saying. Back in the day, he had some funny stuff. He somewhat challenged power, I guess, to an extent. But I guess Trump didn't really have that much power back in 2013. So, but he very quickly fell in line as the stooge of power that he is. Trump claimed that when he provided his birth certificate, Maher didn't pay up, prompting the lawsuit. Trump ended up dropping it. Okay. That sounds like loser shit, Trump. Why'd you drop it? Did your mom actually have sex with an orangutan? I don't know. Seems weird. The Trump-Maher relationship exploded again earlier this year when the president claimed on social media that he wasted time sitting down for a meal with the comedian last year. He came into the famed Oval Office much different than I thought he would be, Trump wrote online. He was extremely nervous, had zero confidence in himself. Trump said the comedian admitted he was scared. Yeah, so Bill Maher came in there like a little fucking bitch because he was like he was trying to be a sycophant to power, but because he was so scared of the actual, the power that Trump can wield or whatever, he came in there like a little bitch, and Trump doesn't like little bitches, dude. Like that's why it's people get so confused about how Zoran goes in there and just wields Trump like a fucking glove. Like he just Trump, he just holds Trump and he just melts in his hands. And the reason is because he respects Zoran. Trump respects Zoran. He might not agree with anything that he says. He might not even like that he is Muslim or a brown person or whatever, but he respects the ability that Zoran has to command and wield his influence, especially with the people who like him or whatever. And Trump, if anything, is always he wants to be around the people that other people like. That's kind of just in his DNA. So when he sees someone like that, it makes him, gush and like I said, melt into a pool of water or whatever. But when you come in here like a little bitch who doesn't feel like they should be in front of the president, you're not gonna, he's gonna fucking hate you, dude. Maher described the dinner as a good time during his April 11th episode of Real Time, noting that Trump was gracious and measured and not like the person who plays a crazy person on TV. He said he wasn't scared. Yeah, I think I believe Trump on that one. He took time in his new rules segment to point out the various Trump policies he liked, including the mass removal of stone-cold criminals and making NATO members pay their fair share. Yeah, he's just like I said. This is probably the main pivot of his career to being a right-wing reactionary sycophant. I may be the last person from the lunatic left that is still an honest broker when it comes to you, he said. I always want the American president to succeed, and I do give credit when you have, but there's lots of stuff you do that is not my idea of success, and I have every right to say so in a democracy. Not no more, bitch. Go to jail, motherfucker. Yeah. So this was a kind of funny article to me. I think I gave some good commentary here. Bill Maher is such a fucking washed up hack at this point, man. Just go die already, dude. Go visit I don't know, secular Jesus and secular heaven already. He's just a washed up reactionary right winger at this point. Which is fine, Good for him. I'm sure he's making a shit ton of money. Being a reactionary right winger is I don't know, it's the key to success in America at this point. So if I was a grifter, that's what I would be. Let's see. I think that's the only article I wanted to read. It's already 2 hours and 10 minutes in. We're gonna go to x.com, everybody. The everything app. You know it, you love it, you probably don't love it, but neither do I, but I still come here because there's content to be found. There's content to be mined. So let's go ahead and see. Choose Your Fighter Rally. So this is by Progressive Victory. Announcement, Choose Your Fighter Rally. This Saturday, join Crystal Ball, Emma Vigeland, Oliver Larkin, Hartzell Gray, and Progressive Victory as we host a massive anti-war live stream fundraiser for candidates across the left. I like that. Maybe I'll donate. But this kind of contrasts, I think, a little bit with the whole No Kings thing, which I read a post the other day. If you want to scroll through my last Scrolling X video on YouTube, the No Kings thing is very lib coded or whatever, which is why it's a little too prim and proper, I feel like, for the moment that we're living in. This at the very least seems like, all of these people I like, except I don't know Hartzell Gray. So like this seems more like it, more where I'm at. Ooh, let's go. One second, I gotta follow this person. Let's watch this though. I don't know if I can watch it, but or listen. For those unaware,
War is raging in Iran.
I can't say for sure, but I think that this is a reference to Erica Kirk. And everybody knows I love Erica Kirk because a video I did on Erica Kirk was my best performing one so far. So I'm going to love her until another person can give me the content that she can give me. So sorry, we're gonna mute that for a second.
Raging in Iran.
We're praying for all the soldiers and troops.
That's great that you're praying, but
how about all the kids that died when the USA hit the towers?
It broke my heart. That is oh.
Sorry, can't listen to that. I know that one. That's Katy Perry. That's the I always get them confused. The Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, is that him? Or no, it's the French one. It's the French one. His wife Katy Perry or something, I think.
Righteous God. And that is why
In what ways have you grown closer to Jesus?
I serve a righteous God. And that is why we say our prayers. And we are all his children. But when I say children, I mean like the holy, blessed Trinity, which is why I hold the Bible.
Wow. I don't think I can listen to it, man. YouTube, why can't I listen to this? Let me listen to it. Man, you know, sometimes I'm like, maybe I should be on Twitch.
Chai ice matcha.
Matcha.
And Bella will have all organic pup cup. Organic? Yes, everything organic.
Organic. I think I can play this audio. Man. Just do it. They're just doing a lot of white people shit, I think, is the vibe that I'm getting here. A lot of this is just white people shit.
Oh, Hannah, you good? 4, 3, 2. Hold your chest lifted. We're gonna lift.
We have to protect all men in America, especially all white men
whoops, I wasn't centered.
in America. Those are the boys that we care about in this country. America is built on their backs.
Yes. Yeah, that was a pretty good video. That was some great Erica Kirk cosplay, man. Seriously. Makeup, everything on point. Oh god. At Grok, who is this? Man, okay, fine. I'll like it. Fine. Is that Drewski? Like, is that... Like, is he just in a ton of makeup or something? Well, I don't know much about... Like, I don't know who this is, really, but if that is him under all that makeup, that's insane. Oh, let's see some more context.
Don't let anyone disenfranchise you because you're a young man, especially a young white male man. Don't ever let anyone talk down to you. We need strong men out.
That's a very small demographic, young white male men. I assume obviously she said male man, but that's how I heard it.
Protect all men in America.
Yeah, it's really not that far off. Dude, WWE is so crazy, man. Have you ever heard people say that WWE is just like drag for straight people? Like, I kind of get it, man. I kind of get it. Like, this is so theatrical. At the very least, it's like theater kid shit, right? This is like theater kid shit. It's like a way for like straight white rednecks to feel like to like go to the theater. Basically, is kind of how I would describe WWE. POV, you're on Facebook. Now, if a white person dressed in a blackface and did a skit like this, that would be problematic. Oh, yikes. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Zach, if that is your real name.
Boy, it's out the mud. We got Rashad McCown. Kobe's 81. We got Kobe's 81. We appreciate Kobe's 81. Out the mud. Zach Randolph, Rashad McCown, Cemetery Larry. We did it. Out the mud. Boy, it's out the mud.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like everybody's kind of focused on this video. Must have gone like mega viral or something. I obviously, considering it's all over my fucking feed right now. Oh, am I on? Oh, am I on? Oh, that's probably why. That's probably why. Guys, I told you before. I wonder if people believe me when I say I'm not an avid X user. I'm not. Like, so when I do shit like that, like that's me literally being just like not understanding how to use X, like going full boomer on this shit. Joe Rogan says, name a left winger you'd like to see on Joe Rogan. And then Emma Vigeland says, Sam Cedar. I agree. Get him on. Joe, what are you scared of? Or me. Me, actually. I take it back. No, Emma. I take it back. I take it back. Me. Put me in there. Put me in there. I had to. Sorry. Oh, man. I had to think about it for a sec, but yeah. Let me just type me. There you go. Ooh, uh-oh. Pharrell Williams, Zionist. Helped raise $60 million for the genocidal death cult occupation forces. Oh, did he really raise money for the fucking IOF? Yikes, dude. You know what? That does not make me happy. That was okay. That was an okay joke, but it was also, this is a very serious issue. Raising money for the Israeli occupation forces, that, you know, if it were up to me, he would be in The Hague for that shit. Supporting a genocide, like that's like materially supporting genocide. Like, I'm being serious. I think that he probably should be in The Hague. Like, maybe not for life. Maybe he can get out in like 20 years or something, but that's an atrocious crime that he committed. I don't know if I want to watch that. Let's see. I was 2 years old when I found out that Hassan Piker is Cenk Uyghur's nephew. I think that they say Cenk Uyghur in America Town, so that's what I'm going to say. I was 2 years old when I found out that Hassan Piker is Cenk Uyghur's nephew. I have known that for a while. Deport, deport, said Mark R. Levin. Sorry about your micro penis. That must be tough. Yeah, I mean, I would just say, in my ideal world, any of these people who say deport would just get deported themselves. Uh, like if I was Grand Ayatollah of America, um, anyone who called for the deportation of like brown people, like you would be insta deported by me. You would live the rest of your life as an immigrant in a brown country, and I would maybe not the rest of your life. I would make you live 10 years. 10 years you would have to live uh, in a brown country as an immigrant over there. And then after those 10 years, we will have you come back. We will we will set up a little like You know those like little traps for rabbits where it's like a stick with a box over it or whatever, and we're gonna put like a phone underneath with Twitter open on it. And if you can restrain yourself for like 5 minutes from running over to that phone and tweeting some racist ass trash, then we'll let you back into the country. How about that? That seems fair to me, right? Right? Am I crazy? Yeah, whatever. Let's see this one. A gay student teaches a lesson to the homophobic classmate who bullied him. Let's see what he teaches.
Come on, right now. Let's go. Come on, baby. Right now, I'm going to show you what's crazy about it. Don't do it. What's that? Don't do it. What's that? Come on. Don't do it. Come on, bitch. Come on. World star. What's that? Come on. World star. Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know if I can watch much more of this, people. I don't know. YouTube's terms of service might not like it, but I have to assume this is the gay student. I really liked that like Mortal Kombat-esque stance or whatever. I'm not even joking. Like that's kind of badass. But yeah, they got their shit rocked, dude. Yeah, and maybe like okay, look. Straight people out there, okay? I need you to understand something. Just because someone is gay does not mean they're going to rock your fucking shit, okay? Like, because look at this dude. Look at this dude. He is like 80 pounds. Like, this dude is like 80 pounds. This person is taller. Like, look at the thighs. Like, you are clearly gonna get your shit clocked whenever you try to like talk shit on this person for being gay. Like, it's kind of the same thing I feel like when men are like start talking trash on like a woman who is like, you know, much bigger than them. And I feel like a lot of men just kind of think that like just because they are a man, they are automatically going to be stronger than a woman or whatever. And like I feel like this guy has that same sort of vibe, like just because he's a straight person and this person is gay, that he's obviously going to be stronger is what he's thinking. Or like be able to win a fight. And it's like, no, dude, there's so many factors that go into whether you're going to be a good fighter or like whatever. And yeah, size is a big deal. If you're sizing up a person and they got like a full like couple inches on you and at least like 60 pounds on you, you're probably gonna get destroyed. But yeah. But I always am a little bit cautious on these videos because I don't know. Like I didn't see the lead up to this, so I don't know for sure if this description is exactly what happened, but if it was, it's funny. Oh, okay. So there's this is the girl from Breakthrough News, which I watch Breakthrough News sometimes. She lives, well, I don't know if she's full-time lives, Rania Kalek. I don't know if she lives full-time over there, but she is Lebanese, and I think is currently in Lebanon, reporting from out of there. But let's watch this one. I assume she's gonna say all this, so we don't have to read it all.
Lebanon as a Lebanese person under the situation I'm in, to condemn resistance to a brutal supremacist settler colony is like asking an Austrian Jew in the 1940s to condemn resistance to Nazi Germany because atrocities. That's all I'm hearing from you, because my entire life, my family has been subjected to constant aggression and war crimes by Israel, because since its existence and founding in this region as a settler colony, a Jewish settler colony implanted in this region, and in a region that's not majority Jewish, so it has to commit constant ethnic cleansing and demographic engineering to exist as a ethno-state,
Preach.
not a normal country, a settler colony ethno-state. Just constant aggression and torture and rape.
Piers dipped out of that conversation. He's like, okay, I don't want my face showing next to this girl when she's going off like this. Like I'm about to get burned.
And land theft against my people. They've currently displaced over 1 million in Lebanon, and they're saying they can't return. You have Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich saying they're going to annex southern Lebanon, depopulate it of Lebanese, and replace it with Jewish settlers, just like they've done in the West Bank. You're asking me.
Well, yeah, you got nothing to say to that bitch. Like, there's nothing you can say because she's right and you're wrong. I am positive. Um, Piers Morgan, to be fair, is ideologically void. There is nothing. He has no ideological commitments to anything. I think he has a vaguely just tendency toward Western propaganda generally, but I really don't think he gives a shit. I think he honestly just does whatever he gets the most, like, however he can get the most content. Like, that's what he does. A good, a good hog chasing. I love me a good hog chasing. You know, where you grease up a hog and you just like, you just run after them and they run away. Yeah, it's nice. Hell yeah. Get fucked, dude. Get fucked. Yeah, run the fuck away, man. Yeah, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, Ice? When you got, 50 people chasing after you? What the fuck are you gonna do? Are you gonna start mowing them down? Are you gonna start shooting every fucking person? I got news for you. If you shoot one of those people, your ass is fucking dead. So what the fuck are you gonna do, bitch? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, fuck those losers. More of that, please. More fucking Nazi punching, man. We need to bring back Nazi punching. More Nazi punching right here. You see this? More of this. People, go out and punch your Nazis. You find a Nazi, punch a Nazi. I'll give you $5. Go. Go, go, go. Let's see. Michael A. Cohen. I think it's important to debate politics with a guy who routinely makes anti-Semitic statements. The state of democratic politics in 2026. Okay, sorry. I had a hard time reading that. I think it's important to debate politics with a guy who who routinely makes anti-Semitic statements. The state of democratic politics in 2026. This is total horseshit. Also, Hassan will be on Majority FM Friday. Oh, that's tomorrow. To debate how defamatory this tweet is. Well, Hassan notoriously doesn't really sue anybody for anything, so I doubt it'll be defamatory enough, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, this anti-Semitic posting just doesn't work anymore. Who cares? Jewish Voice repeat. Yeah, they're still committing genocide. Yesterday, the Israeli military bombed displaced Palestinians. Yeah, yep. Still ongoing. It's very sad. Very sad. I don't know what this is. What? Oh, nice. One person in this photo deserves a 20% WNBA revenue share, and it's not me. Congratulations to the WMBPA union. Oh, okay. So that's the union for the WNBA for their historic labor agreement. Um, hell yeah. I've said before, well, probably not on here, but in my personal life that I think all sports teams should be owned by the players, in my opinion. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that they are not. They are the only generators of like wealth and prosperity, or like from that industry. They should be the owners and operators of like it should just be a co-op model. Um, and if it's not going to be that, then the only owner should be the state or county or wherever it is. It should be either like state or county, like publicly owned, so that it can't just like be bought and sold like a fucking I don't know Labubu or whatever, and people lose their sports teams like all the fucking time. I don't know. It's one of those things like I don't understand how sports people aren't more pissed off about like the private ownership of sports and the degradation that it has on the actual sport itself. I'm not even a sports guy. Oh no. Oh, yeah, we don't even call it. They dropped that shit. The world's most moral army shit. Yeah, Israel doesn't say that shit. It got to be a little bit too laughable, I think. So, they're done with that. Okay, guys, it's 2:30. I've been on here way too long. I gotta go check on my cat, so I'm gonna try to find something. One last funny video. Um, Emma Vigland issues a scathing response to DTG, the Down to Goon community, regarding requests for a debate.
Urban Swank, Emma, the DTG guys went after you. They have a right to reply policy. Would love to see you debate them. Who is DTG?
I don't know. I've never heard of that.
I'm very tired and too busy now, so we'll see.
My first thought was Down to Goon.
What'd you say?
Yeah,
Down to Goon.
Oh. That doesn't sound like something I want to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Sorry, that one wasn't good enough, people. We gotta find a funnier one. No, that's not funny. God, ad. Get out of here, ad. We already watched that. That is funny, but we already watched it. What's this? Okay, do 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 do. He mocked her. Oh God. Am I gonna have to watch Tim Pool on this fucking channel? So many people watch Tim Pool uh on their streams because it's so easy. It's so easy to make fun of. And I'm trying not to do the easy thing, but I might have to watch this on my channel tomorrow. I might have to. I love FD Signifier. Despite what people might think, I don't only watch white people, okay? I do watch some black people. um, I will say, though, that the vast majority of the people I watch are white people. You know what? The algorithm, it's pushing it hard on me. It knows that I'm a white dude, and so, it's trying to segregate me with all the other white people. But I'm gonna claw my way out of the white person algorithm one of these days. Let's see this one.
The phrase "Make America Great Again." I don't care. Then
But
fine.
if that phrase sucks, here's the thing. Like, first of all, America is great. Make
Yeah.
America greater, I'm down. But make America great again, and then it becomes a movement of a bunch of fucking dorks. Because a lot of them are dorks. A lot of them, these really weird, fucking uninteresting, unintelligent people that have got something they cling to. And there's a lot of people that are just real, genuine patriots. And they're all lumped into this one group.
I would urge you to follow that a little bit closer, Joe, because you're right. There are a lot of fucking dorks in the MAGA movement, and I'd argue the entire like white supremacist ideology is about taking dorky losers who are untalented and incapable of making it as like just a like based on their own merit and giving them all special treatment so that they can get the jobs that they don't deserve or whatever. So I think it's kind of inherent to the right-wing ideology to attract a bunch of fucking dweebs and losers who are untalented. Okay, what? I don't know what this is. Yeah, this was a funny one. I went over this yesterday, though. The UN resolution to condemn slavery, basically. United States, Argentina, and you can barely see it, but Israel over here are the only three states that said slavery was cool. Come on, we need something funny, dude. What?
When I say options, I think it's important the American people know options for what? And it's options to ensure that Iran never has a nuclear weapon. You talk about people who walk into a crowded supermarket and have a vest on, and they blow up the vest and a couple of people get killed, and that's a terrible tragedy. What happens when what's on the vest is not something that can kill a couple of people, but can kill many, many tens of thousands of people? That is the most important American national security objective that exists for any administration at any time.
Man.
Is you don't want the worst people in the
That
world
would be
having nuclear weapons.
crazy, dude. How many virgins do you think you get if you strap a nuclear armed suicide vest to your and you take out like 100,000 infidels or whatever? Like how many virgins do you get? I don't know. I would say like you should get at least like double. Man, that would be wild. Okay, what do we got? Drewski. I think I've seen him on Smosh before. If but I might be wrong. Let me search. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. What do I know? It's been a while since I've watched Smosh. Um, it's like that doesn't look funny. Come on, guys. I'm looking for something funny. Okay, okay.
Enchiladas.
So I think this is John Marco Soresi or whatever his channel. So I'm banking on this, okay? He's a comedian. Look at this profile picture. Do you see this? Do you see what he's holding in his hand right there? It's a microphone. And do you see what's behind him? It's a little curtain because he's doing an open mic. So he's a comedian. So this better be goddamn funny because I'm ready to end this fucking stream. So let's see what he has to say, or let's see what they're talking about here. This is the Ivanka Bonka Trilanka Wawanka administration. I love me a good alliteration, so let's see.
Caroline Love is that goofy bitch running around here talking shit about immigrants, then got the nerve to have enchiladas at a motherfucking Mexican restaurant. I hope they pissed in your shit. If I was Mexican after that bitch said the shit she about Mexicans, bitch, you could take this enchilada, you can shove it up your ass. Are you fucking kidding me? Donald Trump too. He can't stand foreigners. Fucking every foreign bitch that's been Ivanka, Bonka, Sri Lanka, Rwanda, none of them bitches is named Brenda, Barbara, nothing. They doing what the fuck they want. JD Vance sitting there look like Count Dracula now, with all his fucking makeup on, and he fucking an Indian bitch. So what the fuck is happening here? By your own standards, it don't work. By your own standards of hating immigrants, a that you let be in office with fucking immigrants don't work. How do that work? How do it work when he take your health care and shit away from you? How do that work? All the poor white people out there, look at yourself. You ain't got no fucking teeth in your mouth. Your main ingredients is mayonnaise, and these just told you to take $3 and get a juicy fruit.
Why am I catching strays right now? Come on, man. I like mayo.
And a damn liver sandwich. They fucking hate you too. So busy hating, you didn't realize they hate you too. So welcome to being a I'm gonna be fine.
Hey.
I've been a for 47 years, and I'm not doing no.
Unfortunately, I think I know the first question that every single white person is going to ask, except for me. And the first question is going to be, okay, does that mean I get the N-word card? Because in this fucking country, that's what like 90% of white people want to just say the N-word. But let's-
The white program for no white people that's like, what do we do now? I don't know, suffer.
that was a pretty good one. I like that one. Also, it's like I will just quickly broaden it. It's because the new white supremacist movement is like the old ways of structuring racism for capital accumulation by treating black people as an unpaid like labor source or whatever. That's just kind of broadened now to like white people as well or whatever, right? So in a similar fashion, so like everyone's kind of being exploited to some extent at this point. But in a similar fashion, the white supremacist movement now, like the torchbearer of that is going to be a fucking gay Mexican dude named Nick Fuentes or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that the white supremacist movement at this point is past the idea of white identity, to be honest. I think that they are literally like, we're about to see like a, you know, a pan, like, like a all race, like, movement that is just going to call itself white supremacy, but in reality, it's just going to be fascism. It's going to be fascism, and they're going to allow everybody who wants to be fascist into the movement. And so, that's kind of what I think is going to happen. But yes, I am absolutely sure, though, if you're going to say this about white people, that they are now N-words, that the first thing they are going to ask is, can I say the N-word? So, which the answer is still no for all you white people out there. You still can't. I'm sorry. This is not permission. Okay, well, you know what? Good stream, I think. 2 hours and 45 minutes. My God, dude, what am I doing with my life? Anybody watching, thank you for watching. If you're watching the VOD, love you too. Check out my clips if you want as well. I try to capture most of the things that I go over here in individual segments that I post to my YouTube channel. Like and subscribe if you feel like you want to, always helping me out, a small creator. And I hope you're having a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm Technically Clay, and the stream is technically over. Bye-bye.